50 years passed in a flash. 50 years passed in a flash. Fairy Xixian had returned from the reroll world. After training in the mortal world, she seemed to have comprehended something and could not wait to enter seclusion. This small incident didn't interrupt Hanju's cultivation. His cultivation level increased again. He was getting closer and closer to the rank 9 immortal emperor. His mind was filled with thoughts of breaking through. He even read fewer emails. The peak of the immeasurable calamity might be coming soon. He had to have the strength to protect himself. There were very few zenith heavens in the immortal world. As long as one reached the deity realm, it was very difficult to die. Of course, even if he was in a hurry, Hanju didn't forget the mission of cursing once every 10 years. This kind of mission was already deeply rooted. It was also for the sake of happiness and stable cultivation. It couldn't be forgotten. On this day, the Golden Crow token emitted Jiang Yi's divine sense again. Hanju couldn't be bothered. It was a waste of time. If a person wanted to die, even the Zenith Heaven Divine Immortal could not save him. He continued to cultivate. His Dao heart was as firm as a rock. Another 10 years passed. Hanju cursed the enemy while checking his emails. He wanted to see what his friends were up to. Your good friend Jiang Yi was attacked by a mighty figure. His body was destroyed and his soul was suppressed. Your good friend Dao Sovereign was attacked by the true dragon race, X23110. Your good friend Li Daokong was attacked by a true dragon race mighty figure. Your good friend Heavenly Emperor was cursed by a mysterious curse. Your disciple Long Hao was suppressed by your good friend Heavenly Emperor. Your good friend Huang Zuantian obtained a secret treasure of the Jie school. His providence has increased greatly. Your disciple Su Qi has obtained the great Tao of misfortune. Your good friend Zhou Fan has been enlightened by a mighty figure. His cultivation has increased greatly. Your good friend Li Daokong has become a person facing the calamity. He was indeed having fun. Hanju couldn't help but curse Jiang Yi in his heart. What a useless thing. Couldn't he be more well-behaved? Follow current_novel on Light Novel World. He was originally the #1 prodigy of the Golden Crow Divine Clan. But now, he was almost a commoner. No matter how talented he was, he couldn't screw around endlessly. Hanju noticed that the Heavenly Court was attacked by the True Dragon race. What was going on? The Heavenly Emperor was from the True Dragon race. So was he beaten up by a fellow member? Did something happen to the Heavenly Court? Long Hao was suppressed by the Heavenly Emperor, probably to deal with Hao Tian. This kid Su Qi was quite something. It seemed like he was going to make a comeback. The next time he returned, he had to deduce it and see if he could let him in and not be harmed to death by him. Hanju thought silently. Seeing Zhou Fan's actions, he couldn't help but complain. Was this fate? In fantasy novels, 2 words could describe this. How terrifying. Also Li Daokong, you've finally become the person facing the calamity. I can't watch anymore. Hanju continued reading, and clearly felt the immortal world becoming more and more unstable. It seemed like a huge battle was about to break out. A month later, Hanju took out the Heavenly Dao token and contacted the Heavenly Emperor. Soon his divine sense connected. Your Majesty, how have you been? Not good. The Heavenly Emperor's tone was filled with exhaustion. This was the first time Hanju heard this tone, and his heart skipped a beat. The Heavenly Emperor sighed. Recently, someone has spread rumors that the Dark Forbidden Lord is related to the Heavenly Court. Most importantly, the ancient races that worship the Dark Forbidden Lord have all declared that they will live and die with the Heavenly Court. We have been surrounded by forces that hate the Dark Forbidden Lord. The 4 heavenly gates are still in chaos. I don't know how long I can last. Fortunately, you haven't returned. Hanju showed a frown. Damn it. Who used my name to attack my heavenly court? Hanju was furious and prepared to spend his lifespan. He consoled. Your Majesty, hold on. Isn't the Buddhist sect an ally? Read at Wuxia World. EU, the Buddhist sect can't even take care of itself. The Divine Palace was the first to lead the endless ghosts of the 9 nether purgatory to attack the Spirit Mountain. It's said that many Buddhas have already perished. In the previous calamity, the Buddhist sect had harmed too many living beings. They might have fallen earlier than the Heavenly Court. Hanju remained silent. What was going on? If the great villain Buddhist sect collapsed, the heavenly court he wanted to protect would also collapse. Hao Tian was already suppressed. Could it be that his fate had changed again? The heavenly emperor instructed him, before hurriedly severing his divine sense connection. Hanju asked in his heart, I want to know who planned the current crisis of the heavenly court. Derivation impossible. Too much karma is involved. Hanju was stunned. What do you mean? More than one person is involved? Hanju was speechless. He continued, Then, I want to know who will be the biggest winner in this immeasurable calamity. 1. 5 billion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? More than before? It seemed that this fellow was even more ferocious than the heavenly Tao Buddha, the demon emperor, and Hao Tian. Do it. Hanju gritted his teeth and chose to continue. Immediately after, his consciousness was brought into the illusion again. Hanju opened his eyes and discovered that he had arrived outside the 33-layered heavens. The hall ahead was the Niuwai Imperial Palace. A figure stood in front of the palace. Hanju narrowed his eyes. Wasn't this the founder of the Divine Palace, Zhu? The 9th Purgatory was activated by him. He was the biggest winner. Zhu said, Sage, you promised me the position of a sage. When will you honor it? A female voice came from inside the palace. For more _novel, visit Light Novel World. Zhu. The condition I gave was that you had to win without slaughtering all living beings. Now that the living realm is full of wandering ghosts and all living beings are dead, do you still have the cheek to ask for the sage position? Aren't you afraid that the Tao ancestor will know? Zhu did not panic at all when he heard this. He said coldly, I knew you would go back on your word. You sages always go back on your word. Could it be that the sage positions are limited and can't tolerate new sages? If that's the case, then I'll look down on the great Tao calamity. I want to slaughter sages. I'll give you a chance to assist me. Otherwise, I'll kill you first. Hanju almost cursed. Another slaughter? Are you crazy? If he wanted to fight for Providence, so be it. Why did he have to slaughter strangers? Was Zhu possessed by the devil? Was he so arrogant? Hanju wanted to hear the sage's answer, but everything in front of him shattered like a mirror. After returning to the Khanate cave abode, Hanju was conflicted. Should he save the people, or think of a way to save the heavenly court first? Sigh. I'm only an ascetic cultivator. I don't want to enter the calamity. Why do I always have to face such a huge choice? O Tao ancestor, in order to protect your heavenly Tao, I've really tried my best. Hanju felt bitter. It seemed that he had to curse Zhu in the future. Although Zhu did not hate him, this fellow would slaughter all living beings. Sooner or later, he would harm the people he cared about. Perhaps even he would not be able to escape death. But the most important thing now was to consider heavenly court. Hanju thought for a long time, but couldn't think of a way. Forget it. He could only continue cultivating and watch out in the future. Hanju couldn't figure it out and couldn't be bothered to think about it. It wasn't that he was heartless, but that he was helpless. He couldn't go to the heavenly court to be buried with them, right? 10 years later, something finally happened to the heavenly court. Their immortals were not attacked again. In his interpersonal relationships, not many of his heavenly court friends had died. Hanju took out the heavenly Tao token and asked about the situation. The heavenly emperor's laughter sounded. Ha ha ha, the crisis has been resolved. The Chan and Jie schools have come to help. With the 2 disciples of the human school, the heavenly court is equivalent to obtaining the support of the entire Tao sect. It frightened those forces into retreating. Hanju heaved a sigh of relief. Indeed, even without him, the heavenly Tao continued to operate. To think that he was still worried about them. His cultivation speed had slowed down a little. The most up-to-date novels are published _here, Light Novel World. The heavenly emperor's voice sounded again. That's right. I want to ask you. Do you know the Dark Forbidden Lord? Could he be the master behind you? Read at Wuxia World. EU. Chapter 345 I have already surpassed the rank 5 Immortal Emperor realm. Chapter 345 I have already surpassed the rank 5 Immortal Emperor realm. The heavenly emperor knew? Impossible. Hanju panicked and subconsciously smiled. Yes, I'm the Dark Forbidden Lord. The Heavenly Emperor chuckled. I believe you, Hanju said helplessly. Your Majesty, I've always been avoiding calamity. If I'm related to the Dark Forbidden Lord, wouldn't I have long entered the calamity? With my nature, with such a master, I definitely have to stay away. Feeling that it made sense, the Heavenly Emperor continued. Other than me, the other 3 overlords of the 4 overlords of the immortal world were all implicated. Is the Dark Forbidden related to the Heavenly Court? Either that, or he wants to harm the Heavenly Court. Hanju cursed silently. But what do you want me to do? Curse you until you go mad? Hanju felt bitter, but didn't dare to reveal his thoughts. He added, it's indeed very likely a conspiracy. The Dark Forbidden Lord is plotting against the entire immortal world. We should plan for the worst. We can't expect him to be one of us. The Heavenly Emperor smiled and said, that makes sense. You're thinking the same thing as me. No matter what, with the help of the Tao sect, the various forces in the immortal world shouldn't really believe that the Dark Forbidden Lord is from the Heavenly Court, because there's no need for it. The current Heavenly Court is definitely the strongest force. Hanju could tell that he was very happy. It seemed that the help of the Tao sect made the Heavenly Emperor confident. Your Majesty, you should be careful. Ever since I joined the Heavenly Court, how many allies have you changed? Hanju couldn't help but remind him. The Heavenly Emperor fell silent, feeling a little awkward. Hanju asked, how's Howard? He's fine, but I can't find the soul in his body. I can only imprison him for the time being. The most up-to-date novels are published _here, Light Novel World. Pay more attention usually. If it's really Hao Tian, it won't be good. I understand. Don't worry. The 2 of them severed their divine sense and ended the connection. Hanju was relieved that the Heavenly Court was fine. As for the Heavenly Emperor suspecting that he was related to the Dark Forbidden Lord, that was fine. He could suspect anything. The Heavenly Emperor wouldn't believe that he was the Dark Forbidden Lord. This was normal. From the Heavenly Emperor's point of view, he definitely could not understand why the Dark Forbidden Lord was so weak. Hanju didn't just rely on the Book of Misfortune. He also relied on the system, the Tao field, and many other methods to make the enemies who cursed him unable to predict him at all. Even if Void Emperor traveled to the past, he was stopped by Hanju. What he needed to do now was to cultivate in peace. He had to be like before to completely dispel the Heavenly Emperor's doubts. On the other side, in a pavilion in the Heavenly Court, the Heavenly Emperor put down the Heavenly Tao token and fell into deep thought. Since it has nothing to do with him, who else can it be? My sons don't have to help me like this. I know how strong they are. There's only one possibility. The Dark Forbidden Lord wants to frame me. After thinking it through, the Heavenly Emperor's eyes turned cold. Although he was almost successfully plotted against by the Dark Forbidden Lord, the Heavenly Court also obtained the help of the Tao sect because of this. This was a good thing. No. I have to be wary of the Dark Forbidden Lord. I need to find a supreme treasure to guard against the curse. The Heavenly Emperor immediately stood up and left. 7 years later, Hanju's cultivation was interrupted as Jiangyi contacted him with the Golden Crow token. You can find the rest of this content on the Light Novel World. Platform. Thinking of how he had rejected him before, Hanju still took out the Golden Crow token. What is it? Why did you ignore me previously? You must want to drag me to the deity realm of the ruins of End again. I don't want to be beaten up with you. You don't trust me that much? Then tell me, what is it now? Opportunity? Or help you find help? I need help. Hanju was speechless. He asked angrily, the Golden Crow Divine Clan just left and something happened to you again? Jiangyi gritted his teeth and said, this time, it's a huge matter. The Buddhist sect invited a mysterious faction to help us in the deity realm of the ruins of End. I accidentally bumped into them. If not for the account of my master, I would have been directly killed by them. Now I'm suppressed in a Dharma treasure. I'm in too much pain. Save me. Hanju asked in surprise. They didn't take away your Golden Crow token? This Golden Crow token is hidden in the depths of my soul. They can't sense it. All right, I'll ask the Heavenly Emperor for help now. Brother, thank you. You've saved me twice. From now on, you're my best brother. Don't. I'm afraid you'll give me another opportunity. Cough cough, if you don't have absolute confidence in the future, don't go overboard. Hehe. Hanju severed the divine sense connection and picked up the heavenly Tao token to inform the heavenly emperor. The heavenly emperor immediately agreed. He also wanted to see what the Buddhist sect was up to. He had always been wary of them. Hanju put down the heavenly Tao token and stretched. Tao Comprehension Sword asked curiously, Master, was the number 1 prodigy of the Golden Crow Divine Clan looking for you just now? Visit lightnovelworld.com. For the best novel_reading experience, she had heard of Jiang Yi from Black Hell Demon Lord and the others. She also knew about Ada and Xiao Er's background. Therefore, she found it amazing that the number 1 genius of the Golden Crow Divine Clan was so respectful to Hanju. The Golden Crow Divine Clan was nothing much, is the outcome of adventuring everywhere. This fellow kept telling me that there was a huge opportunity, and I didn't go. I'm still fine now, but he was on the verge of death several times. Tao Comprehension Sword nodded and said seriously, Master is the most sensible. Master's Tao heart is what cultivators should possess. If everyone in the world was like Master, how can there be an immeasurable calamity? Hanju shook his head and laughed. What twisted logic. Unfortunately, not everyone's potential is the same as ours. With poor potential, one could only seek opportunities. Hanju didn't say anything else and continued cultivating. Now the speed at which negative karma transformed into cultivation was becoming faster and faster. It was even faster than Hanju's qi cultivation through absorbing qi. This was a good thing. The amount of negative karma of the 36th grade reincarnation, world destruction Black Lotus was huge. Coupled with the negative karma outside the island, it could be said to be endless. Hanju could also use this opportunity to repay the heavenly Tao. At that time, the heavenly Tao would reward him with great merit. In the blink of an eye, 20 years passed. Hanju was getting closer and closer to the rank 9 immortal emperor. He had a feeling that the speed at which he would break through to the rank 9 immortal emperor realm was faster than breaking through to the rank 8 immortal realm. On this day, Hanju was still cursing the enemy when Jiang Yi contacted him again. Hanju connected with his divine sense. Brother, thank you. I've already been saved. Our patriarch is also very grateful to you. He said that you are an eternal friend of our Golden Crow Divine Clan. In addition, didn't you take in Di Hongya's 2 children? The patriarch has shown mercy and allowed them to return to the clan and enjoy the treatment of prodigies. Jiang Yi smiled. Towards the end, he was a little proud, as if waiting for Hanju to praise him. Hanju rejected politely. Forget it, let them stay by my side. They'll return after the immeasurable calamity ends. That's true. Now that the calamity has arrived, we can barely protect ourselves. The latest episodes are on the Light Novel World.com website. Cultivate well when you return. I won't hide it from you anymore. I've already surpassed the rank 5 immortal emperor realm. Actually, I gave you face previously, but I can't bear to see you continue to suffer. After struggling for a long time, I still decided to tell you the truth. Hey, are you listening? Jiang Yi, are you dead? Hanju was surprised. Why wasn't this fellow saying anything? Read at Wuxia World. EU. Chapter 346 Pretending to be the Dark Forbidden Lord. Hanju's Rise. Chapter 346 Pretending to be the Dark Forbidden Lord. Hanju's Rise. Jiang Yi. Jiang Yi. Damn it. Hanju couldn't hear a reply for a long time, and couldn't help but curse. Jiang Yi said faintly, Is that true? Actually, I've already held back. Hanju sighed in his heart. I'm still too soft-hearted. Jiang Yi took a deep breath and said, All right. I should indeed cultivate in seclusion. With that, he severed his divine sense connection. Jiang Yi's favorability towards you has increased. Current favorability, 6 stars. This fellow is asking for a beating? Hanju found it funny. Putting down the heavenly Tao token, his expression turned solemn. He had accidentally revealed himself. He had to cultivate harder next to prevent Jiang Yi from catching up. Hanju didn't want to tell him another story. He continued cursing the enemy while checking his emails. Your good friend Ji Xianxian has obtained a mighty figure's inheritance. His providence has increased greatly. Your grand disciple Feng Liang has obtained a mighty figure's inheritance. His providence has increased greatly. Your good friend Li Daokong has stepped into the zenith heaven realm. 3 flowers gathered above him, and his providence has transformed. Your good friend Tai Sutian has entered the calamity. Your good friend Zhou Fan is surrounded by negative karma. His cultivation has increased greatly. Your good friend Duan Hongqian has comprehended the heavenly Tao and has comprehended a mystical power. Your disciple Su Qi was attacked by an ominous aura. X983 Li Daokong reached the zenith heaven realm? Hiss. Not bad. This fellow was already invincible before he stepped into the zenith heaven realm. How strong was he now? The source of this chapter, Light Novel World. Li Daokong's only weakness was Li Xianao. Hanju felt that Li Daokong was not the protagonist. He was more like those impressive legends in novels. He also noticed that Tai Sutian had entered the tribulation. Could this be the order of the Niwa Imperial Palace? This calamity was definitely related to them. Otherwise, Zhu Tu wouldn't have been angry with the Niwa Imperial Palace. Fortunately, I hid in the 9 nether purgatory. If I was targeted by a sage, it would be troublesome. Hanju thought silently. Tai Sutian was only interested in him. If he didn't have the system, he wouldn't have known that the Niwa Palace was paying attention to him. He could have easily become a sage's pawn. Just the thought of it made Hanju shiver. He was now vigilant toward Tai Sutian. He hoped that Tai Sutian would not target him. Divine Palace. Countless disciples gathered in the hall. They were densely packed, and all stood in the same direction. In front of them, a figure stood on the steps. It was Zhu Tuesday. Zhu Tu wore a black robe and a curtained purple crown. He was very domineering. Zhou Fan and Mo Fuzhou stood among the disciples staring at him curiously. Zhu Tu raised his right hand. All the disciples knelt down and worshipped him. They were uniform and imposing. Zhu Tu said, "All of you are geniuses who have obtained the recognition of the Divine Palace. The calamity has arrived and there are many wars. I won't force you to participate. I hope that you can cultivate first and increase your strength before working for the Divine Palace. A dead genius is not a genius. I will open the barrier to the mystic realm. There are dangers and opportunities inside. What you can obtain will depend on yourselves. It's best that you stick together and not fight among yourselves. You'll find disciples from other factions inside the mystic realm. They're your enemies. Do you understand?" All the disciples replied in unison. Zhu Tu waved his right hand, and a strong light burst out from the top of the palace. A powerful suction force pulled at the robes of all the disciples. The disciples rushed into the strong light like a school of carps crossing the river. Zhu Tu looked up with anticipation. He muttered, "I hope you don't disappoint me." The source of this chapter, Light Novel World. Calm after the barrier closed, Zhu Tu turned around and sat down in front of the mat. He took out a book and formed hand seals with both hands. His dermic powers wrapped around the book. "We're about to succeed." Zhu Tu smiled. He planned to create a book of curses and pretend to be the Dark Forbidden Lord. At that time, he could rope in the Dark Sect and the factions who believed in the Dark Forbidden Lord. As for the Dark Forbidden Lord, he was not afraid at all. In the immeasurable calamity, not many were his match. It was even more impossible to defeat him with the power of curses. The Dark Forbidden Lord had never dared to show himself. There had to be a reason for that. Or perhaps he was not strong enough. At least, he wasn't strong enough to ignore the immortal world. 50 years passed quickly. In the past few years, no one had disturbed Hanju. He focused on cultivating, and his cultivation level increased very quickly. He was already about to break through. On this day, Hanju, who was cultivating, suddenly felt a fluctuation in the world of stars in the depths of his soul. He placed his consciousness on the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus. The Black Lotus was slowly blooming. Hanju raised his eyebrows. What did this mean? He probed with his divine sense. Other than endless negative karma, he couldn't sense anything unusual. He could only wait patiently. The 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus slowly bloomed. 36 petals bloomed, dazzling everyone. Hanju was pleasantly surprised to find that his absorption speed was also increasing. He retrieved his consciousness until it was outside the star, and discovered that the other stars were absorbing negative karma. These stars were equivalent to Hanju's cells. Every star contained his vast dermic powers. Had his stellar primordial body improved again? Good news! He had already found the absorption rate to be too slow. Perhaps the stellar primordial body also needed to break through. After reaching a certain stage, it would transform further. That's right. Although his previous talent was very strong, Hanju felt that it was still lacking. You can find the rest of this content on the light novel world. Platform. The primordial physique had to have an unparalleled advantage compared to the chaotic physique. Hanju continued observing. When the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus completely bloomed, the billions of stars absorbed negative karma. Violent winds roared through the world of stars. Fortunately, the reroll world was protected by his dermic powers, or it would have been torn apart by negative karma. Hanju was overjoyed. The speed at which the negative karma transformed into his cultivation base was so fast. He looked again, and saw that more than half of the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus had been purified by the nebulous primordial chi. Not bad. Not bad. It seemed that it wouldn't be long before Hanju refined the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus. At this moment, the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus shook violently, looking extremely irritable. Hanju sensed something, and threw his primordial judgment sword into the world of stars. The primordial judgment sword was also shaking violently. Once it entered, it automatically flew towards the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus. What happened? Hanju was nervous and expectant. The primordial judgment sword was refined from the nebulous primordial chi he carried when he transmigrated into the primordial space. It was his birth dharma treasure. As Hanju's cultivation level increased, it also became stronger. From the looks of it, the primordial judgment sword seemed to have a connection with the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus. No, to the nebulous primordial chi. The nebulous primordial chi could purify the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus. The primordial judgment sword refined from nebulous primordial chi was also affected. Hanju waited patiently. He had a feeling. A cheat might be appearing. No. It was time for explosive growth. Hanju had read the emails before. So many people who entered the calamity would obtain opportunities that far exceeded what they had before. Their cultivation speed would also increase. He had always been secretly envious. Visit Light Novel World. For a better user experience. It was finally his turn to rise. Read at Wuxia World. EU. Chapter 347 Rank 9 Immortal Emperor, Heavenly Tao Supreme Treasure. Chapter 347 Rank 9 Immortal Emperor, Heavenly Tao Supreme Treasure. Hanju's explosion seemed fast, but it was actually long. After half a year, the world of stars finally calmed down. His speed at absorbing negative karma had increased by dozens of times, causing his cultivation level to increase rapidly. Breaking through to the rank 9 Immortal Emperor realm would probably take less than 10 years. Hanju was most concerned about the primordial judgment sword and the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus. The two treasures overlapped each other. The primordial judgment sword stood above the heart of the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus and spun continuously. Most of the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus had already been purified by the nebulous primordial chi and was gradually transforming into a purple lotus. Hanju was very satisfied. Other than his cultivation speed increasing, he could clearly sense that the primordial judgment sword and the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus were establishing a special connection. Although he didn't know what the connection was, he had a feeling that he would become stronger. Time passed. 8 years later, Hanju finally had the chance to break through. He chased Tao Comprehension Sword out and began to break through. With the Tao field around, there was no need to transcend the tribulation. In less than 3 years, he had successfully broken through. Rank 9 Immortal Emperor. Hanju's soul had reached an extremely perfect state. If his soul left his body, one could see a dazzling purple light shining from his soul. It was like a purple statue, crystal clear. His divine sense transformed and became stronger. Divine sense. Hanju felt that although his dharmic powers were also increasing, they were not as strong as his divine sense. He looked forward to the deity realm even more. What was the deity realm? Hanju consolidated his cultivation while checking his attributes panel. Name: Hanju. Lifespan: 4,569/2 quadrillion 1,999,999,999,999. Race: Immortal. Stellar primordial body. Cultivation: Rank 9 Reincarnation Immortal Emperor. Technique: Primordial Chaos Reincarnation Great Tao. Heavenly Cycle Body Tempering. Great Tao. Great Tao of Life and Death. Great Tao of Karma. 2 quadrillion years of lifespan. Boring. Visit Light Novel World. Com for a better user experience. After Hanju broke through a few times, he was no longer interested in the increase in his lifespan. He needed more excitement. After 2 years, Hanju completely stabilized his cultivation. He continued cultivating, wanting to break through to the deity realm. After reaching the deity realm, he would increase his sword Tao mystical powers in one go. Hanju didn't even curse to celebrate. It could be seen how eager he was to reach the deity realm. On the other side, Immortal World, overseas Golden Crab Island. Huang Zuantian was meditating in front of the waterfall and cultivating. His body emitted a golden aura that was visible to the naked eye. He was like a completely different person. Now he was no longer an existence that could be bullied. The white crane suddenly landed behind him and said respectfully, "Sect Master has summoned all the island masters to discuss something." Huang Zuantian opened his eyes and frowned. "What? Do you know the inside story?" The white crane replied, "It's about supporting the heavenly court." Huang Zuantian frowned even harder. Were they about to enter the calamity? They were working for others. Huang Zuantian felt disdain for the Jie school, and felt that it was becoming more and more cowardly. However, the sect master had ordered him to go. "All right, I understand. I'll go," Huang Zuantian said. The white crane immediately flapped its wings and left. Huang Zuantian fell into endless worry. He had heard that the calamity was becoming more and more tragic. Countless living beings died every day, and even many mighty figures who shook the immortal world perished. No. This content is taken from Light Novel World. If he entered the calamity rashly, even if he followed the Jie school, he would easily become cannon fodder. The heavenly court was the target of everyone. Huang Zuantian felt that he had to think of a way to at least increase his status. There were too many island masters. It wasn't a problem for hundreds of them to die. However, if he wanted to increase his status, he could only rely on cultivation. After all, the Jie school was the orthodox lineage of the Tao sect. It also emphasized impartiality and survival of the fittest. Looks like I have to use that treasure. Huang Zuantian's eyes flickered as he thought to himself. 20 years passed quickly. Hanju had been cultivating in seclusion, and even forgot to curse the enemy. He only woke up when the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus was completely purified. In the depths of his soul, in the stars, the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus had already turned purple. It looked very similar to his soul, as if it was carved from crystal. The primordial judgment sword did not change forms, but it had become stronger. Hanju discovered that the two treasures seemed to be fused together like a twin Dharma treasure. He immediately tried to make the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus recognize him as its master. I knew it. After purification, it became very easy to make it recognize him as its master. 7 days later, the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus successfully acknowledged him as its master. Detected that this is your first time obtaining a heavenly Tao supreme treasure. You have the following choices. 1. Immediately ascend and participate in the calamity to seize providence. You can obtain a mystical power inheritance, a great Tao fragment, and a chance to upgrade the system. 2. Continue cultivating and stay away from the immeasurable calamity. you can obtain a great Tao fragment. Hanju chose the second option without hesitation. He checked the information of the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus. 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus. Heavenly Tao Supreme Treasure. After being purified by the nebulous primordial qi, it is even stronger. Its defense can be said to be top-notch below the heavenly Tao. It can also increase cultivation speed. So impressive? Hanju immediately took out the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus and placed it on the bed. Sitting on the lotus throne and starting to absorb qi, he discovered that his cultivation speed had indeed increased greatly. Not only that, but even his body's negative karma absorption speed had also increased. What a treasure! The source of this chapter, Light Novel World. Calm Hanju placed the meditation cushion on the table. He should give it to Fairy Shixian. Immediately, Hanju entered the simulation trial and wanted to test the power of the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus. First choice Heavenly Emperor. After 5 minutes, he opened his eyes. He was pleasantly surprised. Even the Heavenly Emperor couldn't break through the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus's defense. However, Hanju was too weak and was killed in the aftermath. But that was enough. This thing could save his life. As expected of a Heavenly Tao Supreme Treasure, Hanju continued the simulation trial. Apart from Ancestor Shitian and the big shots in the first row, no one could break through the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus's defense. Even the big shots in the first row would take a long time to break through. As for Ancestor Shitian, with a wave of his hand, he insta-killed Hanju and the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus. He couldn't win. In short, Hanju was still very happy. With this supreme treasure, his strength could be considered to have increased greatly. In a good mood, he took out the Book of Misfortune and prepared to celebrate. None of them could escape. Hanju decided to take out 2 billion years each. This was a huge surprise for them. First was the Heavenly Tao Buddha. Under the dusk, in a huge valley, a faint Buddhist light emitted from the darkness. The Heavenly Tao Buddha sat on the ground as a circle of light surrounded him. He suddenly frowned. Damn dark forbidden lord, you're messing with me again. Heavenly Tao Buddha was furious, but he had to endure it. He had already lost his mind. It wasn't easy for him to stabilize his inner demon. He didn't want to lose control again. Ever since Zhu appeared, he did not dare to act recklessly. The Heavenly Emperor and the Demon Emperor couldn't kill him, but Zhu could. The publicly acknowledged strongest person in the immortal world. For more _novel, visit Light Novel World. It was precisely because of him that the divine palace could rise. No one dared to kill it in its cradle. As the Heavenly Tao Buddha resisted the curse, he racked his brains. How should he find the dark forbidden lord? As the Heavenly Tao Buddha resisted the curse, he racked his brains. How should he find the dark forbidden lord? If he couldn't find him, he would still suffer in the future. He couldn't understand. He had clearly left the Buddhist sect. Why was he still cursing him? What grudge did the dark forbidden lord have with him? Was there a need to fight to the death? The Heavenly Tao Buddha just did not understand karma. Of course, if he encountered the dark forbidden lord, who was weaker than him, he would definitely kill him. In the next few days, the curse power became stronger. The Heavenly Tao Buddha did not last long. Finally, he had gone mad again. The mental demon haunted him. Killing intent against the dark forbidden lord occupied his mind. He wanted to release this killing intent. Your enemy Heavenly Tao Buddha has lost his mind because of your curse. Seeing this email, Hanju didn't stop. He had to deduct 2 billion years of his lifespan before he could stop. He wasn't afraid of cursing the Heavenly Tao Buddha to death. 6-star hatred points was too eye-catching. If he didn't kill this fellow, Hanju would never be at ease. When his lifespan was deducted by 2 billion years, Hanju immediately stopped. Perfect timing. Hanju suddenly realized that he didn't seem to be bleeding. It seemed that the recent transformation of the stellar primordial body was indeed effective. He recuperated his aura and continued cursing the Demon Emperor after resting for a few days. He also invested 2 billion years, but nothing happened to the other party. Nothing happened when he cursed Zhu Tu either. Hanju was a little depressed. Could it be that these big shots had found a way to deal with the curse? The most up-to-date novels are published under here, Light Novel World. It seemed that he had to find a chance to upgrade the Book of Misfortune. If he wanted to upgrade it, he had to keep grinding the system's choice missions. Hanju could only keep breaking through. He wouldn't go out and find trouble. Divine Palace in a quiet palace. Zhu Tu suddenly opened his eyes and frowned. It seems that the Dark Forbidden Lord is not simple. Facing the curse of the Dark Forbidden Lord, he was the same as the other mighty figures. He could only deduce the Book of Misfortune, and did not know its owner's appearance. Zhu Tu had no choice but to stop underestimating him. The Dark Forbidden Lord was indeed impressive. Since he had already offended the other party, Zhu Tu decided to confirm his identity. Since you only dare to hide in the dark, don't even think about coming out. The corners of his mouth curled up. The current curse couldn't affect him. After spending 6 billion years cursing, Hanju continued cultivating. It looked like he was squandering, but in fact, Hanju didn't even spend a considerable amount of his lifespan. Sigh. Hanju felt that this was not a good thing. This would make him lose respect for his lifespan. Indeed, gambling would never end well. No matter what he gambled, it wouldn't end well. Hanju sighed in his heart. After the calamity ended, he would no longer curse people with his lifespan. That was unless the other party did not want to live. Time passed. The myriad worlds in the universe were all in a calamity. Other than the reroll world, almost all the worlds stirred up a world-destroying war. Negative karma overflowed from the myriad worlds and began to spread in the void, as if darkness was devouring the myriad worlds. Read at Wuxia World. 40 years passed quickly. Hanju's cultivation had already reached the limit and couldn't increase anymore. But he couldn't find a way to break through to the deity realm for the time being. What was the deity realm? Hanju was in a dilemma. If he had known, he would have asked in the Great Ultimate Hall. Hanju tried using the derivation function again, but the system told him that he couldn't use it to derive a higher cultivation method. He had no choice but to take out the Heavenly Tao token and ask the Heavenly Emperor how to break through to the deity realm. What? You're about to break through to the deity realm? Shocked, the Heavenly Emperor couldn't remain calm. Hanju said helplessly, I'm just asking. He knew that this was not trustworthy, but he could only ask the Heavenly Emperor. The Heavenly Emperor was silent for a long time. Hanju even thought that he had hung up, but then he replied, the breakthrough of the deity realm depends on the improvement of the soul. After reaching the deity realm, the body is no longer important. Even if the body is destroyed, you can recover with a thought. As for how to nurture the soul, you need the Great Tao. By using the Great Tao to nourish the soul and reach the point of fusion, you can reach the deity realm. However, the Great Tao grasped by the deity realm is only a derivation. Just like the Heavenly Tao of the immortal world and the Heavenly Tao of the mortal world, there are differences. It's said that sages can truly grasp a Great Tao. No cultivator who cultivates this particular Tao can disobey the sage. Hanju was secretly shocked. Were sages so ridiculous? Wait, could it be that Ancestor Shitian wanted to control these listeners by preaching the Great Tao? How terrifying. He couldn't cultivate the Great Tao of karma in the future. Hanju said, Thank you, Your Majesty. Although I'm still far from the deity realm, I won't forget your kindness when I reach it. The Heavenly Emperor said meaningfully, I hope so. I actually don't expect you to come out and help the Heavenly Court now. I hope that after this calamity is over, you will serve the Heavenly Court. At that time, you will definitely be as powerful as Li Daokong and Li Xianao. You don't have to worry about being harmed, because you are already strong enough. I hope that you can become the pillar of the Heavenly Court, like the 4 extreme emperors. Of course, if I'm strong, I'll definitely ensure peace in the Heavenly Court. Hanju promised seriously. The Heavenly Emperor smiled and severed his divine sense connection. Hanju looked at the Great Tao of life and death in his body. The Great Tao of karma was too dangerous. He definitely could not cultivate it. But the Great Tao of life and death was fine. Visit to Light Novel World. Discover_new novels. He had obtained the great Tao of life and death a long time ago. Hanju had relied on it to reach the Emperor realm. In his opinion, there shouldn't be any sages who had grasped the great Tao of life and death. Otherwise, what was the point of continuing? That fellow could directly decide the life and death of all living beings. Hanju took out the great Tao of life and death and wrapped it around his soul. Enveloped by the great Tao of life and death, his soul felt warm one moment and cold the next. Could this be the legendary ice and fire? Hanju's thoughts drifted away and stopped in time as he continued to let the great Tao of life and death nourish his soul. After 3 years, he finally discovered a change. His soul was fusing with the great Tao of life and death. This fusion was not as simple as it seemed. Hanju showed his excitement. He had finally found a way to break through. Although this process was a little slow, he could wait. Tao Comprehension Sword returned to the cave abode and saw that Hanju was surrounded by black and white qi. She was already used to it. She came in front of him and called out softly, "Master." Hanju didn't even open his eyes as he asked, "What is it?" "There's something wrong with Chu Shuren." "What?" Hanju opened his eyes. What happened to this kid? He spread his divine sense and saw Chu Shuren cultivating under the Fusang tree. However, Buddhist light emitted from his body, making him look extremely solemn. The others discussed. "He's a reincarnated person from the Buddhist sect?" "Sun Chang'an, do you know him?" "I don't know, but I feel like I've seen him somewhere." "Let's make a guess. What identity did Chu Shuren have in the Buddhist sect in his previous life?" "Probably an arhat." "Can an arhat have such talent?" "He's at least a Buddha." The disciples were very excited. Not one of them was afraid. Awakening the memories of their previous life would not devour the memories of this life. They were just fusing them. Morong Qi, Sun Chang'an, and Su Qi had all awakened the memories of their previous lives, but they had not abandoned the hidden sect. Read at Wuxia World. EU. "It's fine. Don't worry about him," Hanju said. "It's fine. Don't worry about him," Hanju said. He sensed that a powerful force was awakening in Chu Shuren's essence soul. It seemed that the Supreme Buddha was really about to awaken. That made sense. Chu Shuren had been cultivating diligently all these years, and his cultivation level had increased. It was time to awaken his memories of his previous life. Hanju was very curious. Would the Supreme Buddha continue to persuade others not to cultivate? He had already broken this rule himself. Hanju stopped thinking and continued cultivating. He wanted to reach the deity realm as soon as possible. A year later, Chu Shuren was completely awakened. He revealed the Buddhist appearance of the Supreme Buddha and had a solemn divine might. The disciples widened their eyes. Sun Chang'an seemed to recall something. With a thump, he knelt on the ground. He said with a trembling voice, "Buddha! Buddha!" Everyone was shocked. Especially Chu Shuren's disciple Zhou Mingyue. His vision darkened. Oh no! He would be bullied by his master in the future and would never be able to make a comeback. Lu Huaxi was also shocked. There were also legends of Buddhas in the mortal world. He never expected his master to be a Buddha. Diamond Rage shouted angrily, "Supreme Buddha? Didn't he disappear? Why?" He suddenly felt greater reverence for Hanju. Even the Buddha could be subdued? Chu Shuren was expressionless. The karma of my previous life has already become a thing of the past. In this life, we will talk about our seniority here. Sun Chang'an heaved a sigh of relief. Chu Shuren slowly stood up and looked at the Khanate cave abode. He frowned slightly. The other disciples became nervous. This was a Buddha after all. If he attacked Hanju, it would definitely be a fierce battle. Read at Wuxia World. Chu Shuren suddenly bowed to the Khanate cave abode and walked to the edge of the cliff to sit down and continue cultivating. Everyone looked at each other and did not dare to disturb Chu Shuren. The black hell chicken came behind him and shouted, "Brat! You're actually a Buddha. You even said that it's better not to cultivate. If you don't cultivate, how can you be the Buddha? You're so despicable." Everyone couldn't help but worry for it. The black hell demon lord hesitated. Chu Shuren rolled his eyes and said angrily, "I was wrong in the past. Is there a problem?" Sun Chang'an was dumbfounded, suspecting that he had heard wrong. The Supreme Buddha, who had been constantly persuading the other 3 Buddhas, actually admitted that his previous ideals were wrong? Impossible. Sun Chang'an immediately thought of something. Could it be that Han Ju had done something to Chu Shuren? That was very likely. Chu Shuren shouldn't have completely awakened the memories of the Supreme Buddha. Otherwise, this wouldn't have happened. Han Ju's image in Sun Chang'an's heart became even more mysterious. Although he had been cultivating on the island all these years, he felt that Han Ju was getting further and further away from them. This feeling stimulated him to cultivate diligently. Cultivate well. Since you're the Buddha, quickly recover your cultivation from your previous life. The hidden sect still needs to rely on you disciples. We can't always let my big brother and the old Magus help us. The black hell chicken snorted, acting like he was the master of the hidden sect. Diamond Rage was furious. How many times have I told you? Don't call me old Magus. With the black hell chicken's posturing, the atmosphere eased. The others also went up to talk to Chu Shuren. Chu Shuren did not ignore them, either. He answered whatever was asked. As the communication increased, the former Chu Shuren seemed to have returned. 10 years later, Han Ju took out the Book of Misfortune and cursed the enemy. His soul was still being nourished by the great Tao of life and death. He didn't need to watch this process carefully. He estimated that in at most 50 years, the great Tao of life and death and his soul would completely fuse. At that time, he would step into the deity realm. Han Ju cursed as he checked his emails regularly. Your Tao companion Xian Qingjun has joined the darkness sect. Her providence has increased greatly. Your good friend Ji Xianxian was attacked by demons, X310032. Your grand disciple Fang Liang was attacked by a demon saint. His cultivation has increased. Your good friend Divine General has obtained an ancient inheritance. His providence has increased greatly. Follow new episodes on the light novel world.com platform. Because of your curse, the Zenith Heaven Tao fruit of your enemy demon emperor cracked. Your good friend Li Daokong has stepped into the heavenly Tao and severed his karma. Your good friend Heavenly Emperor was cursed by a mysterious curse. Your good friend Huang Zuantian has fused with the blood of the ancient Qilin. His bloodline has transformed, and his cultivation has increased greatly. Han Ju raised his eyebrows. Why did Xian Qingjun join the darkness sect? His wife had submitted to the enemy? Han Ju was a little unhappy, but he couldn't control the immortal world. No, the darkness sect had to be punished. Han Ju still remembered that the leader of the darkness sect was Xue Mingyi, who escaped from the 9 nether purgatory. He noticed that Li Daokong had stepped into the heavenly Tao and severed his karma. This was too ridiculous, as expected of a mighty figure who wanted to take him in as a disciple. No wonder he dared to be so reckless before. After wandering for so long, he severed the karma and started from the beginning? It was unknown if he had severed his karma with the human school. If Han Ju was Li Daokong, he would definitely do it. Otherwise, Li Xian'eo would become his weakness. In Han Ju's opinion, Li Xian'eo was far inferior to Li Daokong. Li Xian'eo had been severely injured various times before, but not Li Daokong. As for Huang Zuantian, why was he becoming more and more powerful? Han Ju only wanted to give it a try at first. He didn't expect this fellow to still be stubborn and become stronger. Will he become the sect master of the Jie school the next time we meet? Han Ju wasn't afraid that he would betray him. There was a 6 paths insignia in the depths of Huang Zuantian's soul. The 6 paths insignia became stronger with Han Ju. Unless Huang Zuantian directly surpassed him, he could forget about betraying him. Han Ju continued to read the emails. Many people had obtained opportunities. Unfortunately, you still can't compare to me. Han Ju often paid attention to his friends in interpersonal relationships. No one cultivated faster than him. Although he was proud, he was not arrogant. There was no point in comparing speed. Cultivation was the most important. Follow new episodes on the light novel world.com platform. A month later, Han Ju put down the Book of Misfortune and asked in his heart, I want to know who is cursing the Heavenly Emperor. 100 million years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? Continue. Han Ju closed his eyes. Several breaths later he opened his eyes. Damn it. It was Zhu Tu again. What happened? He was so strong, yet he still cursed others? Trying to pretend to be me? Hanju was annoyed. He couldn't allow Zhu Tu to hurt his heavenly emperor. Your Majesty, for you, I've decided to risk it, Hanju thought to himself. He picked up the Book of Misfortune and continued cursing. This time, he had to curse Zhu Tu until something happened. After cursing for 5 days, Hanju's lifespan began to decrease. He kept staring at his attributes panel. His lifespan decreased faster and faster as he increased the intensity of the curse. 100 million years. 1 billion years. 2 billion years. 5 billion years. Hanju stopped. His face was already covered in blood. He asked the system, did something happen to Zhu Tu? He had no interpersonal relationship with Zhu Tu, so he couldn't see information about him in the emails. 100 million years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? No. Hanju didn't care anymore. He tried his best anyway. He would find a chance to tell the Heavenly Emperor about Zhu Tu cursing him. Divine Palace. Boom. A palace shook violently. The guards outside looked at each other. They were extremely nervous, but they did not dare to barge in. In the hall, Zhu Tu's expression darkened. Damn dark forbidden lord. He cursed me every 10 years. This time, he used even more strength. Zhu Tu panicked. Follow current_novel on Light Novel World. Calm, would the darkness forbidden lord's curse become stronger next time? Although he was fine now, if this was not the dark forbidden lord's limit. Time passed quickly. 40 years in the immortal world went by. Time passed quickly. 40 years in the immortal world went by. Hanju's soul finally fused with the great Tao of life and death. He was about to welcome the opportunity to break through. He chased Tao Comprehension sword out, and she left the cave abode with an understanding expression. Hanju took a deep breath. Deity realm. Here I come. Hanju was very excited. It was almost at the level when he first reached the immortal realm. He began to comprehend the primordial chaos reincarnation great Tao. This cultivation technique was a great Tao cultivation technique. He could only comprehend different realms as his cultivation level increased. Now, he wanted the method to break through to the deity realm. Hanju's soul flew out from his head. His soul was bright, and purple light shone in the cave. The breakthrough began. As Hanju comprehended the primordial chaos reincarnation great Tao, all sorts of true meanings regarding the deity realm surged into his mind. Deity realm. Above all living beings. The deity realm was not divided into 9 ranks like the emperor realm, but 1 to 6 mystic. 1 mystic divine origin. 2 mystic divine origin. Until 6 mystic divine origin. When the 6 mystics gathered, he would become Zenith Heaven. Heavenly Court. Numinous Palace, Gathering of Gods. The Heavenly Emperor sat on the Emperor's throne. In the front row of the hall stood Li Daokong, Li Xianao, the Divine General, the Martial God General, the Heavenly Duke of the Jie School, and the mighty figures of the Chan School. The Divine General smiled and said, Your Majesty, another war god has come to challenge the Heavenly God General. He hasn't been defeated after more than 10,000 times. He's not far from becoming the Heavenly Tao War God, right? The other immortals smiled. Ever since the Heavenly God General announced to the world that he wanted to fight for the War God title at the Heavenly Gate, many years had passed. He had always been fighting and had never lost. It was precisely because of him that the prestige of the Heavenly Court had soared. This was also one of the important reasons why the Tao sect supported them. Non one the Heavenly Emperor smiled and said, The Heavenly God General is working so hard. You can't relax. Next you should attack the Demon Court. As long as the Demon Court doesn't appear, there will be endless trouble in the Heavenly Court. Now, the Demon Court has already become the greatest force wreaking havoc in the immortal world. Destroying them will increase the Heavenly Court's providence. The immortals agreed one after another, their faces filled with confidence. Follow current_novel on Light Novel World. The current Heavenly Court was really different. After obtaining the support of the Tao sect, they were the strongest force in the immortal world. Jing Tiangong suddenly asked, Your Majesty, the Divine Palace's Zhu Tu is the Dark Forbidden Lord now. Do you think that's true? The Heavenly Emperor said calmly, With Zhu Tu's cultivation level, why would he be the Dark Forbidden Lord? Why would he choose to expose his identity now? It's obvious that he only wants to rope in the believers of the Dark Forbidden Lord. If you were Zhu Tu, what reason would you have to be the Dark Forbidden Lord? Jing Tiangong nodded. He didn't believe it either. He had interacted with Zhu Tu in the past. This person was extremely arrogant. He could have directly attacked the Demon Emperor and the Heavenly Dao Buddha. So why did he have to do this? He had never heard of Zhu Tu being good at curses either. Of course, the most important reason was that Jing Tiangong was unhappy with Zhu Tu's day previously. He had almost died in his hands. How could Zhu Tu be the Dark Forbidden Lord he worshipped? In his eyes, the Dark Forbidden Lord was mysterious and powerful. He was filled with wisdom and strategies. He didn't want fame, only benefits. Such a mighty figure was what he pursued. Li Daokong suddenly said, "Your Majesty, I'm willing to challenge Zhu Tu to a battle." The Heavenly Emperor glanced at him and shook his head. "You're still young. Zhu Tu's strength is not something you can imagine." Li Daokong smiled and said, "Is that so? Then I want to fight him even more now." Beside him, Li Xian'eo said in a strange tone, "My good senior brother, don't die and implicate me." "I doubt it." "Hee, you're really confident." "It's not confidence. It's the truth." "Humph." The immortals were already used to seeing the two of them bickering. At that moment, a heavenly soldier suddenly flew into the hall. "Report a large number of vengeful spirits have appeared outside the South Heaven Gate. The Divine Palace is attacking." Whoosh! The immortals were in an uproar. They were still discussing how to deal with the demon court, and now the Divine Palace attacked. Dao's sovereign's expression was unnatural. He loved and hated the Divine Palace. Li Daokong laughed. Perfect timing. With that, he disappeared. Li Xian'eo hurriedly followed. After 17 years, Hanju finally broke through. You can find the rest of this content on the Light Novel World com platform. One mystic divine origin. Hanju's soul sublimated and his divine sense swept out. Fortunately, he remembered that the primordial Yuan Phoenix was still in the Nine Nether Purgatory, so he retracted his divine sense. The dermic powers in his body had also undergone a qualitative transformation. This was a higher-level dermic power, also known as divine origin. Origin was the source of all things. Divine was high and mighty. Divine origin dermic powers. Hanju felt the transformation brought by the deity realm and was immersed in it. He felt as if he had been reborn. Compared to before, he was like an immortal. What a wonderful feeling. It was as if he could control everything. His divine sense could even sense the omnipresent space and time. He was omnipotent. When Hanju woke up from this wonderful feeling, he opened his eyes and opened his attributes panel to see his current lifespan. Name: Hanju lifespan 4703/9quadrillion999,999,999,999,999,999. Race: Primordial Fiend Celestial. Cultivation: 1 Mystic Divine Origin. Technique: Primordial Chaos Reincarnation. Great Tao. Heavenly Cycle Body Tempering. Great Tao. Great Tao of Life and Death. Great Tao of Karma. 9 quadrillion years of lifespan. It was about to break through the horizon. Not only that, but his race had also changed. Primordial Fiend Celestial? Interesting. Hanju was overjoyed. What a long lifespan. It was almost eternal life. Hanju suppressed his surprise and continued to consolidate his cultivation. 2 years later, 3 lines of words suddenly appeared in front of him. Detected that you have reached the deity realm and have transformed into a primordial fiend celestial. You have the following choices. Visit to Light Novel World. Discover _new novels. 1. Exit seclusion immediately and fight for the providence of the immeasurable calamity. You can obtain a mystical power inheritance and a great Tao fragment. 2. Stay true to your heart and continue cultivating. You can obtain a great Tao fragment and a chance to upgrade the system. This dog system finally stopped tempting him to go out. Hanju happily chose the second option. System upgrade, just slowly level up. Hanju closed his eyes and started to comprehend the Sword Tao mystical powers, preparing to raise his strength to the limit. On that day, he directly jumped into the Sword Tao River and began to step forward. Zhang Guxing guarded the Sword Dao River. When he saw Hanju appear, he couldn't help but smile. You, wait. Zhang Guxing widened his eyes. Hanju's consciousness formed a purple figure that emitted a terrifying and oppressive aura that made him shiver. This aura, only the Divine Palace's Divine Emperor had it. Could it be that this kid had stepped into the deity realm? Impossible. How many years had it been? Zhang Guxing was so shocked that his jaw almost fell off. He could be said to have watched Hanju grow up. He had stepped into the deity realm, from a mortal, in a little more than 4,000 years. Is this kid the reincarnation of a mighty figure? Did he want to train in the mortal world? Hanju focused on breaking through. He continued forward, and soon there were no other figures around. Finally, he saw the mysterious figure again, as if it was standing at the end of the Sword Dao, waiting for him. Hanju had already guessed this fellow's identity. It looked very close, but Hanju took more than 10,000 steps before arriving in front of him. The mysterious figure turned around and looked at him. He smiled and said, "It's really you. I didn't see wrongly." Updated _ at Light Novel World. The mysterious figure was Li Daokong. Hanju didn't panic when facing Li Daokong. He smiled and said, "Senior is indeed powerful." Hanju didn't panic when facing Li Daokong. He smiled and said, "Senior is indeed powerful." Li Daokong smiled and asked, "Do you want to surpass me?" "I want to, but I don't have the ability." "If you want to surpass me, you need to take a strike from me. Take it. I'll give you this position. If you can't, go back and train more." "Come," Hanju said seriously. He knew that Li Daokong wasn't making things difficult for him. At this point, his mystical powers had already reached the deity realm. If he continued forward, he would probably reach the Zenith Heaven realm. Li Daokong waved his hand, and a sword chi flew towards Hanju. This sword chi was not spectacular, and its aura was average. However, it was extremely fast, so fast that Hanju didn't even have time to react. Boom! Hanju's consciousness spun and returned to his body. He suddenly opened his eyes. He couldn't even block a single strike. Ridiculous. Although Hanju didn't exert his full strength in the Sword Dao River, it could still show the difference between the two. Of course, if they really fought, Li Daokong wouldn't even be able to break through the defense of the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus. Hanju perked up and continued to strengthen his other Sword Dao mystical powers. He headed for the Sword Dao River each time, but when he encountered Li Daokong later, he did not receive any attacks. The copy of Li Daokong in the Sword Dao River seemed to be the remnant of his will, not his true body. Half a year later, Hanju raised his strength to the limit and began the simulation trial. He would beat Li Xian'eo first. Back at the Great Ultimate Hall, Li Xian'eo was also there, and Hanju copied his data. Li Xian'eo couldn't break through the defense of the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus at all. Although Hanju's cultivation was inferior, he could still fight evenly using the supreme treasure. It was worth mentioning that Li Xian'eo's cultivation was 6 mystic divine origin. He wondered when this fellow would reach the Zenith Heaven realm. Hanju always remembered that he had dug out the chaotic heavenly dog's eyes. He had to take revenge. 3 days later, Hanju ended the simulation trial. This _ content is taken from Light Novel World. He couldn't defeat a Zenith Heaven existence for the time being. However, with the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus, he would not be insta-killed. Most of the people in the deity realm were not his match. Without being able to break through the defense of the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus, Hanju could find an opportunity to win. A small number of 6 mystic divine origin cultivators could make Hanju unable to move no matter how he fought. Overall, Hanju was still very satisfied. Even if he had just entered the deity realm, he was not at the bottom. It had to be said that the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus was really strong. No wonder Immortal Emperor Samsara wanted to obtain this item. However, the negative karma contained in this treasure was really terrifying. If not for the stellar primordial body, this treasure would instead be a serious burden to Hanju. Taoist Yuji was like this before, so he followed Hanju's act. and threw this treasure away. Since I've broken through, shouldn't I celebrate? Hanju thought silently. He cursed Zhu first. This fellow had been cursing the Heavenly Emperor. It was obvious that he was pretending to be him. Unforgivable. Moreover, Hanju deduced that the future Zhu would slaughter all living beings. Killing this fellow was to benefit all living beings. Hanju took out the Book of Misfortune and cursed while thinking about how much lifespan he had to offer. 10 billion years. He felt that 10 billion years might not be enough to cause a problem with Zhu Tuesday. Forget it. I'll just treat it as splurging for a celebration. Above the 9 heavens, 2 terrifying figures were fighting. They were Zhu and Li Daokong. Li Daokong held a sword. Every strike could produce billions of sword chi that filled the 9 heavens. Zhu used both hands to cast various mystical powers. Terrifying pressure filled the sky. No one dared to step foot here. Zhu raised his right hand. Countless bolts of lightning gathered in his palm and quickly condensed into a huge and majestic 5-clawed lightning dragon that roared sinisterly. At this moment, Zhu frowned and cursed. Damn it, why are you cursing me at this juncture? He hated the dark forbidden lord. Li Daokong didn't know what had happened to Zhu Tuesday. Identical figures appeared around him, each brandishing a different sword technique. More and more sword shadows rushed towards Zhu Tuesday. In the blink of an eye, Li Daokong's figures filled the sky. Suddenly, Li Daokong's sword shadows turned to face Zhu Tuesday's sword. Light burst forth, illuminating the world. In the 9 Nether Purgatory, Hidden Sect Island, the disciples who were cultivating looked up. Visit to Light Novel World. Discover_new novels. Why is there light? Morongchi asked in surprise. After coming to the 9 Nether Purgatory for so long, this was the first time they saw light. Li Yao frowned. That's sword light. Sword light? Everyone was stunned. Diamond Rage had a complicated expression as he said, in a battle between mighty figures, the sword light can penetrate to the 9 Nether Purgatory. Such a cultivation level is truly terrifying. He's probably one of the strongest existences in the immortal world. The disciples of the hidden sect couldn't help but be fascinated. What cultivation level was needed to illuminate the heavens? In the Khanate cave abode, Hanju was still focused on cursing. Several days later, Hanju's lifespan started to decrease. He opened his attributes panel and stared at it carefully. 1 billion years. 3 billion years. 5 billion years. 10 billion years. Stop. Hanju didn't even bleed. The deity realm was indeed powerful. Although he didn't know if Zhu was alright, Hanju didn't care. He felt good anyway. Then he cursed the heavenly Tao Buddha. This fellow had already gone mad. It was best to curse him to death as soon as possible. Hanju also decided to play with the heavenly Tao Buddha, using 10 billion years. 5 days later, Hanju's lifespan began to decrease. He cursed with all his might, causing his lifespan to decrease at an unprecedented rate. 3 billion years. Because of your curse, your enemy heavenly Tao Buddha lost control of his demonic heart and his dharmic powers. 5 billion years. 8 billion years. Visit Light Novel World. For a better reading experience. Because of your curse, your enemy heavenly Tao Buddha has manifested his demonic body and demonic soul, attracting the heavenly punishment. 9 billion years. 10 billion years. Stop. Hanju timed it accurately. Dark Forbidden Lord, just you wait. I will definitely kill you. Ah! The voice of heavenly Tao Buddha suddenly exploded. Not only Hanju, but everyone in Hidden Sect Island could hear it. Hanju was stunned. An email appeared in front of him. Because of your curse, your enemy heavenly Tao Buddha was killed by the heavenly Tao. He died and his Tao dissipated. A remnant soul managed to escape. Hanju checked his interpersonal relationships. The portrait of the heavenly Tao Buddha was gone. Was he dead? Still not completely dead? That remnant soul made him uneasy. At the same time, golden rain descended from the myriad worlds. The zenith heaven perished, and the myriad worlds were filled with sorrow. Heavenly court. Numinous palace. The heavenly emperor looked at the golden rain outside the hall, his expression changing. Who is the dark forbidden lord? Zhu is still fighting Li Daokong. It's definitely not him. He can actually curse the heavenly Tao Buddha to death. Isn't this? A storm brewed in the heavenly emperor's heart. He pinched his fingers to deduce. Then a strange expression formed on his face. This fellow is actually the devil ancestor? No wonder it attracted the heavenly Tao. The negative karma accumulated by the devil ancestor back then was too terrifying, causing him to be rejected by the heavenly Tao the moment he entered it. The source of this _chapter, Light Novel World. Could it be that the curse of the Dark Forbidden Lord had caused the heavenly Tao Buddha to be unable to hide his true body? The heavenly emperor was uneasy. Today it was the heavenly Tao Buddha. Would it be him next time? Although he wasn't from the devil race, and the heavenly Tao would not target him, he didn't want to be cursed by the Dark Forbidden Lord. He finally cursed a mortal enemy to death. Hanju heaved a sigh of relief. He finally cursed a mortal enemy to death. Hanju heaved a sigh of relief. Sigh. The path of the great Tao was long-lasting. Hanju thought to himself, it's not my fault. If you want to blame someone, blame yourself for having killing intent towards me. He never provoked others, but he was not afraid of trouble. Whoever dared to harm him, he would think of all ways to kill them. If he wanted the enemy to give up on hatred, he would make him disappear. Hanju adjusted his state. He prepared to continue cursing the demon emperor. If it was the demon emperor, he could curse for 5 days. Hanju didn't want to kill 2 zenith heavens in a row. He was afraid that his mentality would change. Furthermore, the demon emperor was not the devil ancestor. Even if he revealed his true body, he wouldn't be killed by the heavenly Tao. Demon Court. The demon emperor was filled with fear when he heard the heavenly Tao Buddha's roar. Previously, he hated the Dark Forbidden Lord and was more furious. After all, in his opinion, the Dark Forbidden Lord only dared to curse in secret. But it was different now. A zenith heaven was cursed to death. The demon emperor didn't care about the heavenly Tao Buddha being the devil ancestor. In his opinion, the Dark Forbidden Lord already had the strength to kill a zenith heaven. The reason why he had forced the heavenly Tao Buddha to reveal his true form was to torture him. What a terrifying and vicious fellow. The demon emperor had lived for so long, but he had never encountered such a savage fellow. This fellow could clearly kill the enemy directly, but he insisted on cursing in secret and torturing the enemy's will. Such an enemy was too terrifying. At this moment, the demon emperor even felt a hint of regret. Read at Wuxia World. He suddenly wanted to beg the Dark Forbidden Lord for mercy. However, he sadly discovered that he didn't even know who the Dark Forbidden Lord was. He couldn't even find him. He suddenly thought of Zhu Tuesday. Zhu Tu had recently been pretending to be the Dark Forbidden Lord. Could it really be him? He indeed had the strength to kill the heavenly Tao Buddha. The more the demon emperor thought about it, the more panicked he became. At this moment, the familiar curse power attacked again. The demon emperor panicked. He thought that the Dark Forbidden Lord was preparing to curse him to death. He began to think of all ways to stop it. However, 5 days later the curse stopped. He wasn't injured. The Dark Forbidden Lord seemed to be teasing him. For some reason, the demon emperor was pleasantly surprised. He wants to befriend me? The moment this thought appeared in the demon emperor's mind, it began to grow like weeds. The heavenly Tao Buddha had just died when the Dark Forbidden Lord came to curse him. It was definitely not casual. There had to be a deeper meaning. The demon emperor frowned. What should he do? After cursing all the enemies, Hanju walked out of the Khanate cave abode. Fairy Shixian and Chang Yuer, who were in seclusion, also came out to listen as he preached the Tao to everyone. Everyone felt that Hanju was different now. Chu Shuren had a complicated expression and was secretly shocked. This is the deity realm? No, he might be even stronger. After awakening his memories of his previous life, Chu Shuren tried the simulation trial. He discovered that Hanju had recorded many mighty figures that he needed to admire in his previous life. Since Hanju could simulate the strength of those mighty figures, he was definitely not weaker than them. Hanju looked at Chu Shuren and asked, "What do you think about the death of the heavenly Tao Buddha?" Chu Shuren came back to his senses and said, "He deserved it. When the heavenly Tao Buddha lured the devil heart into the Buddhist sect, I felt that something was wrong with him. He will definitely destroy the Buddhist sect." As expected, This underscore content is taken from Light Novel World. The others couldn't help but be curious. Previously, Chu Shuren didn't mention a word about the Buddhist sect, causing them to be too embarrassed to ask. Hanju didn't ask further, and started to talk. Chang Yuer sent a voice transmission to Fairy Shixian. Master, Junior brother seems to have changed. Fairy Shixian replied. It's just that his cultivation level has increased. She looked at Hanju with reverence. Not only them, but the other disciples also clearly felt the pressure emitted by Hanju. Diamond Rage and the Black Hell Demon Lord were the most shocked. This was obviously not a small breakthrough, but a big one. To welcome a major breakthrough with his cultivation level. What realm was he at? They didn't dare to think too much. As Hanju began to preach the Tao, everyone entered a state of enlightenment. This lecture lasted for 5 years. Everyone had comprehended something, and even broke through, including Diamond Rage and the Black Hell Demon Lord. They seemed to have found a way to increase their cultivation level. For the next 4 years, Hanju allowed them to ask questions one by one. After that, he dismissed the disciples and returned to the cave abode alone, preparing to continue cultivating. Tao Comprehension Sword followed him. She came in front of Hanju and asked carefully, Master, you're so strong now. Do you still want to hide here? For some reason, Hanju gave her the feeling of invincibility. She had never felt it so strongly. Hanju said angrily, What do you mean by hiding? This is cultivation. There is no end to the Tao. What? Has your Tao heart changed? You want to go out? Alright, get out now. I'll personally send you to the immortal world. Tao Comprehension Sword was so frightened that her face turned pale. She hurriedly knelt down and begged. I didn't. Master. I was wrong. Hanju snorted. Don't ask such questions in the future. Cultivate well. He was already a little arrogant. If more and more voices like Tao Comprehension Sword appeared around him, he might really become arrogant enough to enter the calamity. Could this girl have been possessed by the heavenly Tao to seduce him? Hanju was determined. This underscore content is taken from Light Novel World. I'm not strong enough. Thinking of Li Daokong and ancestor Shitian, the smugness in his heart vanished. Tao Comprehension Sword seemed to be frightened. She returned to her mat and continued cultivating. Hanju couldn't bear it and said, Come over. I'll give you special treatment. Tao Comprehension Sword was pleasantly surprised, and hurriedly came to his bed to meditate. Her gaze landed on the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus, under Hanju. She wanted to ask what this treasure was, but she didn't dare to. Regarding the heavenly sword Tao, you've already cultivated most of it. I'll teach you another sword Tao mystical power. This mystical power is the unparalleled sword Qi, the mystical power you despised before. Hanju said expressionlessly. Tao Comprehension Sword hurriedly waved her hand and denied it. I didn't. I only said this name is average. Oh, you're still arguing? I was wrong. Hanju smiled in satisfaction and started to teach her the mystical power. Half a year later, Tao Comprehension Sword was chased out of the cave abode by Hanju and went outside to cultivate his mystical power. Hanju took out the Heavenly Tao token and contacted the Heavenly Emperor. He didn't know how the Heavenly Court had been all these years. Soon his divine sense connected. You really broke through to the deity realm. The Heavenly Emperor snorted. He felt Hanju's divine sense transform. It was no longer the Emperor realm, but the divine sense of the deity realm. Hanju said awkwardly. Cough cough, I was just lucky. The Heavenly Emperor said meaningfully. TSK, your talent is really powerful. I suspect that you don't have a chaotic physique, but a stronger and more mysterious physique. No, I just have a heart towards the Tao. Heart of the Tao. Perhaps. The Heavenly Emperor seemed to have thought of something and fell silent. Hanju asked, How's the situation in the Heavenly Court recently? I heard a voice previously. Something must have happened in the immortal world. The Heavenly Emperor said indifferently, Just one Buddha died. Just. Hanju was unhappy. He wanted to hear the Heavenly Emperor brag about the Dark Forbidden Lord. But this fellow did not follow the script. Visit Light Novel World. For the best novel _reading experience Heavenly Emperor. Do you know how many years of lifespan I've spent? If I tell you, you can't bear the burden. The one who died was the Buddhist sect's heavenly Tao Buddha. This Buddha was disguised as the devil ancestor. He deserved death. The one who died was the Buddhist sect's heavenly Tao Buddha. This Buddha was disguised as the devil ancestor. He deserved death. The heavenly emperor spoke slowly, as if he was talking about a very ordinary matter. Hanju was even more depressed. Are you bragging? The heavenly emperor changed the topic and said, however, this matter is related to the Dark Forbidden Lord. The fact that the Dark Forbidden Lord could drive a Zenith Heaven mad, and even force him to death, is truly not simple. The demon emperor was frightened, and said that he was willing to invite the Dark Forbidden Lord to enter the demon court, and enjoy equal status with him. He will be treated just like the demon emperor. Hanju was stunned. What was the demon emperor doing? Trick a dog in before killing it? An ambush? Hanju felt that the demon emperor had to be taught a lesson. As long as the demon emperor's hatred for him did not decrease, he would always have the intention to kill him. Hanju asked, how's the situation in the heavenly court? You aren't targeted by the Dark Forbidden Lord, right? He will curse me occasionally, but overall, the heavenly court is temporarily unaffected by the Dark Forbidden Lord. Next, the heavenly court will start a war with the demon court. The calamity has already begun for a period of time. It's time for true war. The heavenly emperor smiled, his tone filled with confidence. Hanju felt that he had gotten arrogant. He would probably fail. He didn't dare to say it directly, and could only wish the heavenly emperor success. The two of them did not chat for long before ending the conversation. He continued to cultivate. One mystic divine origin was not enough. He was too far from the Zenith Heaven realm. Hanju's goal was to reach the Zenith Heaven realm as soon as possible. Even the heavenly Tao Buddha had died easily, let alone a little deity realm cultivator like him. Cultivation was truly endless. 8 years later the system was finally upgraded. For more _novel, visit lightnovelworld.com. The Tao field has been upgraded. The array formation has been upgraded to the Zenith Heaven realm. It has expanded the internal space of the Tao field. Tao field immortal chi has increased by 10 times. Khanate chi has increased by 5 times. The Tao field can block the prying of a sage's divine sense. The system has added a new guard function. It can completely replicate a Zenith Heaven expert in the simulation trial as a guard. He will listen to you. The guard cannot leave the Tao field for more than an hour. Otherwise, it will directly disappear. Hanju was stunned after reading the 4 lines of notifications. An unprecedented sense of security surged into his heart. The array formation of the Zenith Heaven realm meant that no enemy below the Zenith Heaven realm could barge in. Previously, it had blocked the prying of the pseudo-sage, but now it directly blocked the sage. This time, Hanju could hide completely. The most explosive thing was the defense function. He could directly duplicate a Zenith Heaven. He felt extremely safe. The more the system upgraded, the stronger it became. And no wonder there had been so many upgrades recently. It seemed that the system couldn't help but want to upgrade. Hanju closed his eyes and started to choose the Zenith Heaven. After some thought, he first chose Zhu Tuesday, the number 1 in the immeasurable calamity. However, Hanju was worried that he would surpass the Zenith Heaven. Choice successful. Congratulations on obtaining the Tao field's first guard. Once the guard dies, he cannot be revived. It will take time for the guard to be copied. Please wait patiently. Hanju heaved a sigh of relief. It was settled. However, the guard could only stay on the island. If he left for more than an hour, he would automatically be gone. Read at Wuxia World. EU. In other words, this guard could only be a guard and not a fighter. To Hanju it was enough. He was arrogant. This time, as long as he stayed in the Tao field, he would be invincible. At least below the heavenly Tao. Zhu Tu is already the strongest in the calamity. A pseudo-sage shouldn't enter the world, let alone a sage. Hanju felt the dark clouds above his head lift, and his body relaxed. Next, he just had to wait for the guard to appear. At the same time, the disciples of the hidden sect discovered that the immortal chi in the island was increasing again. The Black Hell Demon Lord clicked his tongue in wonder. Why are the array formations in this island increasing from time to time? I clearly didn't see the door move, nor did I see any more natural treasures. The black hell chicken smiled proudly. Of course it's a mystical power. Do you understand what a mystical power is? It can turn something useless into something magical. My master is very capable. The black hell demon lord rolled his eyes. He could tell that Hanju had a higher status in the black hell chicken's heart. If he broke up with him, the black hell chicken would definitely choose Hanju without hesitation. The others also began to discuss. At the edge of the cliff, Chu Shuren looked around and muttered, "Aura of creation. Could it be?" He seemed to have thought of something, and his expression changed. He turned to look at the Khanate cave abode with reverence in his eyes. After 20 years, the guard had yet to appear. Hanju asked many times. After confirming that the system was still creating it, he was relieved. He was really afraid that the system would play tricks on him. Fortunately, he was hiding in the 9 Nether Purgatory. If a powerful enemy attacked during this period of time, it would be terrible. While waiting, Hanju kept cultivating. After breaking through to the deity realm, Hanju discovered that the speed at which the stellar primordial body absorbed negative karma was more than 100 times faster than before. The latest episodes are on the Light Novel World.com website. This was normal. After reaching the deity realm, if his cultivation speed was still the same as the Emperor realm, how could Hanju survive? What made him glad was that the absorption speed of negative karma was still increasing. Be it the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus, or the negative karma in the 9 Nether Purgatory, they were endless. This was Hanju's greatest opportunity. He didn't have to go out and fight for luck. On this day, Hanju had just finished cursing the enemy and had nothing to do. He started to use the simulation trial to relax. This time, he wanted to study the combat method of the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus. He believed that this treasure was not just defensive. It should have stronger uses. After fighting again and again, Hanju suddenly discovered something. If he released the negative karma of the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus in battle, endless negative karma would surge towards the enemy. Although Li Daokong, the Heavenly Emperor, the Master of the Divine Palace, and the other mighty figures would not be devoured by negative karma, they would still be restrained. A noob like Li Xianao was directly wrapped by negative karma and couldn't move anymore. Hanju attacked again, and after attacking for a period of time, he was gone. In that case, I can keep the negative karma in the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus and use it as a trump card in the future. Hanju thought silently. Then, he no longer absorbed the negative karma in the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus. Instead, he absorbed the negative karma outside the hidden sect island. He used his divine sense to absorb it before transmitting it into his body and being digested by the stellar primordial body. However, this treasure can't be used in the immortal world. The Heavenly Tao Buddha was killed by the Heavenly Tao because of the devil ancestors' negative karma. Hanju concluded. It seemed that he and the system had become much stronger, but it was only suitable for him to stay in the 9 Nether Purgatory. If he headed to the immortal world, he still had to rely on his cultivation level to fight enemies. Once a Heavenly Tao Supreme Treasure, like the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus was used, it would definitely attract the attention of the mighty figures and attract endless trouble. Fortunately, Hanju was not interested in going out. He entered seclusion and peace, and waited for the calamity to end. He wondered when the calamity would end. What realm could he reach before it ended? At this moment, Hanju suddenly sensed that someone was using the invocation technique. His expression changed. Who the hell was summoning him? He had just decided not to go out when someone summoned him. Wasn't this a slap in the face? Visit Light Novel World.com for the best novel_reading experience. Hanju hesitated. Should he go over? Only his disciples and Tao companions knew the invocation technique. It was rare to encounter one in 1,000 years. They must have encountered great trouble. Hanju didn't hesitate for long before deciding to go. A black vortex appeared in front of him. Hanju sat on the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus and flew in together. Without the supreme treasure, he felt uneasy. Even though he was already at the deity realm, he was still very cautious. In the dark world, blood aura filled the air and bones covered the ground. Fang Liang, Ji Xianxian, and Han Ming gathered together. The three of them were trapped in a golden formation. Countless demons attacked from outside the formation. They attacked one after another, frantically attacking the golden formation, wanting to break through it. All sorts of terrifying roars resounded through the world. It was deafening. Ji Xianxian gritted his teeth and scolded. "Brat, can you call your grandmaster or not? If you really can't, I'll use a forbidden technique." Fang Liang gritted his teeth and said, "If you use a forbidden technique again, your soul will definitely be severely injured. There will be no chance of you reaching the Emperor realm anymore. Besides, you might not be able to escape even if you use a forbidden technique." He looked around and gritted his teeth. Han Ming stood behind the two of them, his expression changing. At this moment, a black vortex appeared above their heads. Immediately after, a purple light descended, and the three of them were pleasantly surprised. Hanju was really here. A figure appeared in the purple light. He sat on the lotus throne, and no one could see his true appearance or the lotus throne. Ji Xianxian shouted, "Brother Guan Yu, you're finally here." Hanju was stunned. He almost forgot the name he made up long ago. He immediately checked the strongest person around him. The strongest was only at the Emperor realm. Hanju couldn't even be bothered to remember his name, but it was someone from the devil race. Hanju asked, "What happened?" Updated_at Light Novel World. Calm Fang Liang said awkwardly, "This is the demon abyss. We were chased by the demon court and accidentally entered this place. Grandmaster, I'm sorry. I didn't want to trouble you, but there's a blood relative of yours here." Hanju glanced at Han Ming. He could sense that Han Ming's bloodline aura was close to him, but he was not too interested. Hanju's eyes narrowed. All the demons outside the golden formation dissipated like smoke. Ji Xianxian, Fang Liang, and Han Ming were stunned. They were all dumbfounded. Han Ming asked in surprise, "They retreated?" Fang Liang suddenly turned to look at Hanju. "No, it's Grandmaster's divine sense." Hanju said meaningfully, "You know quite a lot. It seems that you had many opportunities before." He didn't forget that Fang Liang's soul had transcended into the primordial era. Who knew how long this kid had stayed there? Ji Xianxian asked in shock. "They're all dead? Then, hurry up and leave." Hanju interrupted impatiently. With that, he prepared to escape back into the black vortex. "Wait, Han Ming suddenly took a step forward. Hanju stopped and said, "Oh, I almost forgot about you." He waved his right hand and Han Ming turned into a bloody mist that splattered all over the ground. Two souls landed in his hand. Fang Liang and Ji Xianxian weren't stupid. They immediately understood. Why does this fellow have two souls? Ji Xianxian frowned. Fang Liang was enlightened. That fellow isn't Grandmaster's younger brother. Hanju took the two souls into his palm and left. Remember, unless you know someone, don't trust them. Try the Light Novel World. Com platform _ for the most advanced _ reading experience. Hanju returned to the black vortex and returned to the Khanate cave abode. The black vortex dissipated. Ji Xianxian and Fang Liang hurriedly left and vanished into the horizon in the blink of an eye. While escaping, Ji Xianxian couldn't help but ask, "What realm is your grandmaster at now?" And Fang Liang had a complicated expression as he said, "At least the deity realm. He's even stronger than an immortal emperor." "How is that possible? He came from the same mortal world as us, and has never ascended. Perhaps my grandmaster has an identity that we don't know about." "Oh, what identity?" "I already said that I don't know. Are you a fool? Brat, you're becoming more and more impudent. Have you forgotten how I took care of you in the past? Times are different now. You might not be my match." "What a joke. Other than dodging, can you defeat me?" After returning to the Khanate cave abode, Hanju told Dao Comprehension Sword to go out. He opened his right hand and let out the two souls. One of them was Han Ming, and the identity of the other was unknown. Hanju used the simulation trial to test his identity. Zhou Ganzi, rank 6 immortal emperor, Khanate human race. Hanju looked at Zhou Ganzi and asked, "Why do you want to possess him?" Zhou Ganzi shivered and said with a trembling voice, "I'm injured. I wanted to stay in his body for the time being. I have no ill intentions." Han Ming looked at Hanju with a complicated expression. He was even a little excited. In the past, under Immortal Emperor Samsara, he had never been convinced by Hanju. Only when he went out to train did he understand the dangers of the world. Hanju's appearance made him feel even more kinship. Most importantly, Hanju immediately saw through Zhou Ganzi's disguise, making him worship him. Visit Light Novel World. Com for a better user experience. Han Ming's favorability towards you has increased. Current favorability, 6 stars. Hanju ignored the notification and stared at Zhou Ganzi. "Do you really think I'll believe you? I have ways to make you confess." He threw him into the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus. I'll talk. I'm Immortal Emperor Samsara's disciple." Zhou Ganzi shouted in horror, as if he had encountered the most terrifying torture in the world. Hanju let him out. Han Ming stared curiously at the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus. What was hidden in it? Zhou Ganzi's soul trembled as he shouted, "Immortal Emperor Samsara hoped to use your younger brother to find you, so I possessed Han Ming and tried to approach you. I was also forced. It was Immortal Emperor Samsara who forced me." Zhou Ganzi has developed hatred towards you. Current hatred points, 5 stars. Hanju's eyes narrowed, and Zhou Ganzi's soul dispersed. He couldn't be bothered to ask. All he needed to know was who was behind this. Hanju looked at him. Han Ming lowered his head and didn't dare to look at him. Everything in front of him told him that Hanju's strength far exceeded his imagination. He might even be as terrifying as Immortal Emperor Samsara. Otherwise, why would Immortal Emperor Samsara target Hanju in such a roundabout manner? Hanju hesitated. How should he deal with Han Ming? Should he kill him? However, Han Ming had no intention of harming him. Furthermore, they were blood-related in this life. It was too inhumane to kill him directly. Hanju said calmly, "We're actually not close at all. There's no reason to talk about kinship. I was abandoned since I was young. To be frank, you were able to live until today because of me. Otherwise, Immortal Emperor Samsara wouldn't have raised you at all. I'll give you 2 choices. 1. Directly reincarnate. Your relationship with me will cause you even more trouble in the future. Immortal Emperor Samsara will still target you. I can think of a way to make you reincarnate into a good family. 2. Cultivate on the island. However, you are not allowed to speak of our relationship. After the calamity ends, you will leave. From then on, we'll have nothing to do with each other. Our brotherly relationship will cease. If you threaten me, I will kill you." Hearing this, Han Ming suddenly raised his head and said in a low voice, "Then, I'll reincarnate. I don't want to fawn on you either." This _ content is taken from Light Novel World. Com. Looking at Han Ming's stubborn face, Hanju was a little stunned. Needless to say, this kid really looked a little similar to him. However, he was not as handsome as him. He had thought that Han Ming would choose to stay on Hidden Sect Island. He didn't expect this kid to have such a backbone. He actually chose to reincarnate. "In that case, I'll fulfill your wish," Hanju said. "Sure, but the reincarnation cycle has been chaotic recently. It's not easy to reincarnate. Wait for a while." With that, he placed Han Ming's soul into his sleeve. From the beginning to the end, Han Ming's favorability towards him did not decrease. It seemed that this fellow didn't hate Hanju. He was just not convinced. This made Hanju think highly of him. Previously, Hanju had always been vigilant. He always felt that Han Ming would leech off him and even burden him. Especially after Han Ming developed a favorable impression of him for no reason. He believed in this even more. It was a slap in the face. For some reason, Hanju thought of Zhou Fan. After being saved by the elder brother of a mighty figure, he was mistaken to think that he wanted to reach out to the elder brother of a mighty figure, and chose to reincarnate. Fuck. Why did this feel like the start of a fantasy protagonist? Hanju didn't want to be challenged by a protagonist in the future. Hanju stopped thinking and took out the Heavenly Dao token to contact the Heavenly Emperor. The Heavenly Emperor quickly connected to him. What is it? The netherworld is in chaos. I want someone to be reincarnated. Does the Heavenly Court have a way? It's not that there's no way, but who is this person? Hanju didn't hide anything and told him about his relationship with Han Ming, including the plot of Immortal Emperor Samsara. For more _novel, visit Light Novel World. The Heavenly Emperor praised. You aren't tied down by some nonsense kinship. I didn't misjudge you after all. In his opinion, the affection of mortals was not worth mentioning, let alone the brothers who had no feelings at all. I'll help you. Thank you. I'll let him be born into a good family. I still admire his temperament. Don't worry. I know what to do. Actually, I don't have to erase your relationship. As long as you hide it well, it's good to have more allies on the path of cultivation. Perhaps he can save your life in the future. I don't want that day to come. That means that I'm not strong enough. Come on. Why didn't you think so when you asked me to save your life? Cough, cough. Hanju coughed and didn't feel awkward. He said shamelessly, Your Majesty, by saving me, I'll definitely save the future of the Heavenly Court. The Heavenly Emperor snorted. All right, send that kid's soul over. Using this token? Yes, you're already at the deity realm. You can use your divine sense to protect his soul and send it over. Although the process will make him feel a little uncomfortable. Aren't you afraid of coming to the immortal world? Thank you for your reminder, Your Majesty. You actually didn't refute? Sure, I didn't misjudge you. Hanju smiled and wrapped Han Ming's soul with his divine sense, sending it into the Heavenly Dao token. Soon, he felt a powerful force suck away Han Ming's soul. For some reason, Hanju felt inexplicably melancholic. He couldn't help but recall Han Ming's expression when he made his choice. Was I wrong? I didn't do anything wrong. No one can disturb my Dao heart. Hanju's eyes were firm. Then he said, Your Majesty, try your best to give him a better reincarnation. It's best if he doesn't get abandoned again. In other words, he didn't want to send him to a powerful faction that was about to collapse. Although this situation was good, his fate would be rough. I understand, the Heavenly Emperor replied. The source of this _chapter, Light Novel World. Soon, their divine sense connection ended. Then, Hanju closed his eyes and continued cultivating. This rescue made him feel the power of the deity realm. With a thought, all the enemies were reduced to ashes. The immortal emperor fled in fear, not even daring to shout. Under the resplendent galaxy, the Heavenly Emperor walked on a long ice crystal staircase. A soul shadow followed behind him. It was Han Ming. Han Ming was very nervous, as he didn't know where he was going. He couldn't help but ask, May I know who? He asked very carefully, because the Heavenly Emperor emitted a very strong pressure, making him feel as if he was facing Immortal Emperor Samsara. Heavenly Emperor, the Heavenly Emperor replied without looking back. Han Ming was stunned. The Heavenly Emperor? He was shocked. The Heavenly Emperor was personally leading him to reincarnation? Was Hanju already on par with the Heavenly Emperor? Thinking of this, Han Ming felt even more complicated. He even regretted it a little. Should he have chosen to stay by Hanju's side? At least it was a huge opportunity, but he quickly discarded this regret. If he can become a mighty figure by himself, why can't I? I can't let him look down on me. Han Ming's eyes were firm. One day, he would be strong enough to appear in front of Hanju as an equal. At that time, he would look directly at him. The two of them continued forward, and quickly arrived at the end of the long ice crystal staircase. There was a huge lake ahead that was shimmering with light. The sea of stars reflected on the surface of the lake, looking dazzling and beautiful. The Heavenly Emperor turned around and said, This is the river of destiny. Jump in, and you will reincarnate as a human again. Visit Light Novel World. For a better reading experience. Han Ming came to the end and looked at the river of destiny. He took a deep breath. He was about to jump down when the Heavenly Emperor suddenly said, Ordinary reincarnations won't start here, and I won't lead them personally. You have to thank your brother. He did this for your own good. By severing the karma of the past, immortal Emperor Samsara won't be able to find you. Han Ming frowned and hesitated. He had many questions to ask, but he did not know how to ask. He was afraid that he would appear timid now. The Heavenly Emperor continued, I will think of a way to protect your memories. You will be born into a good family, and will no longer be under the shadow of your brother. You will be a brand new person, who can grow even stronger. Actually, blood ties are not important. If a person has feelings, even if the cycle of reincarnation changes, the bonds will still exist. If you become stronger in the future, don't forget to repay him. If not for your brother, I wouldn't have brought you here personally. Han Ming took a deep breath and bowed respectfully to the Heavenly Emperor. Then, he immediately jumped into the river of destiny. The Heavenly Emperor waved his sleeve, and a dazzling light appeared on the surface of the lake. His eyes flickered as he muttered, There's a good show to watch now. I want to see what kind of commotion you will cause. 10 years later, Han Ju ended his cultivation and started cursing the enemy while checking his emails. Your good friend Li Daokong was cursed by a mysterious curse. Your good friend Han Ming received the help of a mighty figure and entered the river of destiny. He was reincarnated by the heavenly Tao and his providence has transformed. Your good friend Huang Zuantian has received guidance from a mighty figure of the Jie school. His cultivation has increased greatly. Your good friend Jiang, he has comprehended the heavenly Tao true meaning during his cultivation. His cultivation has increased greatly. Your good friend Tao Sovereign was attacked by the devil race, X42006. Your grand disciple Chu Shuren has awakened the mystical power of his previous life, and awakened the supreme treasure in the depths of his soul. His providence has increased greatly. Your good friend Empress Huta created a mysterious race, and obtained heavenly Tao merit. Your good friend Ji Xianxian was chosen by a mysterious mighty figure. His fate has changed. Heavenly Tao reincarnation? It didn't look simple. The latest episodes are on the light novel world. Com website. Han Ju noticed that Han Ming's portrait was still there, which meant that his memories were still intact. The Heavenly Emperor didn't erase the memories of his previous life? Han Ju continued reading. Many strange things had happened recently. After reading the emails, Han Ju clicked his tongue in wonder. The immeasurable calamity was indeed something. Han Ju checked his interpersonal relationships. Most of his friends' cultivation levels were increasing. This included most of the immortals of the Heavenly Court. He couldn't help but be curious. Didn't the Heavenly Court experience many calamities? They should be very strong. Could it be that most of the immortals had died in the calamity? Han Ju looked at his immortal friends in the interpersonal relationships, and his eyes filled with pity. These people would all become cannon fodder. A month later, he continued to cultivate. The negative karma outside the island surged towards Hidden Sect Island, forming a huge vortex. What was worth mentioning was that the interior of Hidden Sect Island was already becoming larger and larger. There was an ocean around the island. It was the yellow spring water that he had absorbed in the netherworld. As the Tao field increased in size, it formed a vast sea that occupied an area larger than the reroll world. The disciples of the hidden sect would occasionally test their mystical powers above the yellow spring. The Fusang tree had already grown to tens of thousands of feet tall. It was truly a divine tree. The current Tao field could be said to be a world of its own. Flowers even began to grow on the desolate land on the island. It was quite magical. Perhaps as Han Ju became stronger, the Tao field would become a huge plain like the 33 levels of heaven. Han Ju was looking forward to it. Days passed. In the blink of an eye, another 10 years passed. Han Ju's cultivation level increased again. However, the deity realm was vast. If he wanted to break through, he needed to accumulate for a long time. Han Ju didn't have high goals either. He just had to break through to the second level in 1,000 years. This way, he had a chance to reach the Zenith Heaven realm in 10,000 years. At that time, the immeasurable calamity might not be over yet. Fellow Taoist, can we have a chat? A cold voice suddenly resounded throughout Hidden Sect Island, startling everyone. Hanju opened his eyes and checked the surrounding enemies. There were no enemies. Read at Wuxia World. Wait. Could it be? Hanju seemed to have thought of something and stood up. Master, was that voice calling you? Dao Comprehension Sword asked curiously. She wouldn't be so nervous anymore. From the other party's words, he was clearly very afraid of Hanju, so he was very polite. Hanju hesitated for a moment and said, "Tell the others to cultivate in peace." With that, he closed his eyes and spread his divine sense out, quickly rushing in the direction of the voice. Soon, he saw the primordial Yuan Phoenix. It was this fellow who contacted Hanju. Probably because of the negative karma vortex around Hidden Sect Island, the primordial Yuan Phoenix was looking for him to seek help. In the darkness, the primordial Yuan Phoenix was like the source of all evil. It was unfathomable and terrifying. Hanju asked, "What's the matter?" The primordial Yuan Phoenix's voice floated out. "I can see that you are absorbing negative karma. You're truly impressive. You want me to help you? That's right. What can I get? If I let you out, will you find trouble with me? There is no enmity between us. Why would I harm you? If you save me, I will owe you my life. If you are in danger in the future, I will definitely help you. All right, but I'm still cultivating my mystical power and can't come over to help you. Wait a little longer." "How long do I have to wait?" 100,000 years. All right. The ancient Yuan Phoenix sounded pleasantly surprised. Hanju was speechless. It seemed that this fellow had been imprisoned for too long, and did not take 100,000 years as much time. Hanju said seriously, "Yes, that's settled. Fellow Taoist, wait patiently. Primordial Yuan Phoenix has a favorable impression of you. Current favorability, 3 stars. Thank you, fellow Taoist." Hearing the primordial Yuan Phoenix's thanks, Hanju didn't reply and retracted his divine sense. Read at Wuxia World. EU inside the Khanate cave abode. Dao Comprehension Sword had already left the cave abode. Hanju opened his eyes and fell into deep thought. Although the primordial Yuan Phoenix had discovered the Dao field, this fellow clearly could not move. Since that was the case, he would ignore him for the time being. Hanju isolated the cave abode and didn't let Dao Comprehension Sword return. He took out the Book of Misfortune and started cursing while checking his emails. The war between the Heavenly Court, the Demon Court, and the Jie School had already begun. Even Huang Zuantian was attacked by demons. Hanju was wondering if he should take this opportunity to kill the Demon Emperor. He was afraid that after the Demon Court was destroyed, the Heavenly Court would become everyone's target. If the Heavenly Court was attacked by various forces, that would not be a good thing. Hanju didn't expect the Heavenly Court to win. He only hoped that they could survive. He would wait a little longer. Hanju thought silently. In his heart, Zhu Tu was a greater threat than the Demon Emperor. Dao Field Guard has been successfully copied. Please name it. Hanju raised his eyebrows when he saw a line of words suddenly appear in front of him. Finally, Hanju thought silently, Lubu. Immediately after, purple light burst out from his eyes and landed in front of him, condensing into a figure. It was Zhu Tu. To be precise, it was Lubu who looked exactly like Zhu Tuesday. Lubu knelt down on one knee and cupped his fists. Greetings, Dao Lord. Dao Ancestor 1. Hanju subconsciously heard wrong and immediately understood. Lord of the Dao Field. Yes, go out and find a place to stay, Hanju instructed. He had previously learned from the system that the Dao Field Guard was like a puppet without intelligence. Its thought patterns were to protect the Dao Field and listen to all his arrangements. Lubu immediately stood up and left. After walking out of the Khanate cave abode, everyone turned to look at him, because his aura was too terrifying. Who is that person? The Black Hell Demon Lord frowned. He felt that it looked familiar. Diamond Rage was shocked. Divine Palace's Zhu Tu. How is that possible? The latest episodes are on the Light Novel World. Com website. The others were surprised. Who is Zhu Tu? Lubu ignored them and jumped down to the sea. Hanju's voice sounded. His name is Lubu. From now on, he will guard the Dao Field. You don't have to disturb him. He also needs to cultivate. He was afraid that the disciples would deliberately strike up a conversation and find out. The disciples were in an uproar. They couldn't help but think of the previous voice. Could it be that this person called Hanju and came to pay respects? It was very likely. The disciples sat together and discussed. With Lu Bu around, Hanju immediately relaxed. Even if Zhu Tu came personally, he could forget about killing him. Hanju smiled. This was the cultivation place he wanted. It was absolutely safe, and had abundant immortal qi. Divine Palace. Zhu Tu, who was meditating, suddenly opened his eyes and frowned. He pinched his fingers to deduce and frowned again. What's going on? Why do I feel uneasy? The more Zhu Tu thought about it, the more uneasy he became. He felt that something big was about to happen. No, I have to go to the 33rd heaven to ask. Nothing can go wrong with this calamity. Zhu Tu stood up and rushed out of the divine palace. Several breaths later, he arrived outside the 33rd level and stopped in front of Niwa Imperial Palace. He knelt down and looked up at the gate, then asked, "Sage, I have something to ask of you." A cold voice came from Niwa Palace. The calamity has begun. You can only rely on yourself. Zhu Tu looked up and asked, "What should I do if there's karma beyond the calamity?" Impossible. The most up-to-date novels are published _here, Light Novel World. Calm Sage, please help me deduce it. Zhu Tu said firmly with a burning gaze. One lord and ancestor sounds similar in Chinese. The person fell silent. Zhu Tu waited patiently. The person fell silent. Zhu Tu waited patiently. Several hours passed. The cold voice floated out of the palace again. The anomaly you spoke of is part of the calamity. Go back. Part of the calamity? Zhu Tu frowned, not understanding what this meant. Since it was part of the calamity, why did it make him uneasy? He was already the strongest in the calamity. He fought for providence and momentum. Could it be that the uneasiness came from the Dark Forbidden Lord? The Dark Forbidden had appeared? Zhu Tu hurriedly stood up, bowed, and left. Time passed quickly. 50 years passed quickly. Hanju's cultivation time had returned to normal. It was ordinary and boring. He cursed the enemy every 10 years. His usual joy was probably from reading the emails. In the past few decades, Han Ming had already successfully reincarnated. In this life, his talent was monstrous. He had just been born, and was already at the loose immortal realm. He was almost comparable to the Golden Crow divine clan. Some of Hanju's immortal god friends died one after another. It could be seen that the heavenly court's plan to invade the demon court was not smooth. Sigh. Some of his friends were gone before he even met them. Hanju watched as his friends' icons disappeared one after another, feeling inexplicably sad. It was unknown how many old friends he'd have by the time he reached the end of the Great Tao. Cultivation was a lone peak. The higher one went, the narrower it became, until only one person could stand at the top. On this day, Hanju walked out of the cave abode and came to the Fusang tree. After so many years, the Fusang tree had been growing, but it was still far from maturing. The mature Fusang tree could connect to the myriad worlds in the world, like a space-time hub. Hanju had always been looking forward to that day. The Fusang tree shook again. Hanju smiled and said, "That fellow in the 9 nether purgatory has already reached an agreement with me. He won't harm you. Don't worry, don't be nervous." The Fusang tree said carefully, "It's not in the 9 nether purgatory, but outside." Outside? New _chapters are published on Light Novel World. Calm Hanju showed a frown. He spread his divine sense towards the exit of the 9 nether purgatory. Soon, he discovered that the exit of the 9 nether purgatory was shrinking. Someone was repairing the barrier and wanted to isolate the 9 nether purgatory from the netherworld again. Hanju frowned and hesitated. Should he stop it? Stop my ass. Didn't I hide in here to avoid the calamity? It was a good thing that someone was repairing it. It was to prevent the enemy from breaking in again. After Hanju thought it through, he waited and watched. A figure suddenly appeared in the dark void. When Hanju saw this figure, his expression couldn't help but become strange. This fellow, Pan Xian. Pan Xian turned around and cast a spell with both hands. Vast dermic powers spread out, repairing the barrier between the two worlds. Why did this fellow escape? Pan Xian seemed to have sensed something and snorted coldly. Yo, I didn't expect that there's still someone hiding in the nine nether purgatory like me. Fellow Taoist, let me give you a piece of advice. Don't provoke me and don't try to open the barrier. Hanju remained silent. Pan Xine was suddenly moved and said in surprise, This aura seems to be. He widened his eyes and shouted, Brat, you actually reached the deity realm. How is that possible? Hearing this, Hanju could only say helplessly, Senior, long time no see. Are you being hunted down? Hunted? Nonsense. Who dares to hunt me down? Then why are you here? Can I enter seclusion? Since it's you, I'm relieved. Don't go out before the calamity ends, all right? That's exactly my intention. Where are you? Why can't I deduce your location? Facing Pan Xian's doubts, Hanju grew silent. He didn't know if he should bring Pan Xian into the Dao field. For more _novel, visit Light Novel World. No. He couldn't take the risk. There was no knowing what others were thinking. Although Pan Xian had a favorable impression of him, the two of them were not close. Hanju replied, I'm also in seclusion. Senior, rest early. I'll continue cultivating. With that, he retracted his divine sense. To prevent his location from being exposed, Hanju controlled Hidden Sect Island to move away. In a flash, he covered millions of miles and disappeared without a trace. Pan Xian was stunned on the spot and thought to himself, could it be that this kid is also being hunted down? He was amused. He didn't expect another person to have the same thought as him. Hiding in the most dangerous place. No, I have to find this kid. I want to see where he's hiding. Pan Xian's appearance caused Hanju to no longer dare to absorb the negative karma in the nine nether purgatory. He continued to utilize the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus. He would first absorb the negative karma in the lotus. The 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus had accumulated several calamities of negative karma. It would be very difficult for Hanju to suck it dry. Even if he could, it would take an extremely long time. From then on, Hanju often felt Pan Xian's divine sense sweep past Hidden Sect Island. Why was this fellow looking for him? Did he have bad intentions? Hanju almost took out the Book of Misfortune, but he was afraid of exposing his identity. Perhaps Pan Xian didn't have any ill intentions. After searching for a few years, Pan Xian gave up and found a place to cultivate. The nine nether purgatory fell silent again. Another 30 years passed. While cultivating, Hanju took out the Book of Misfortune and cursed the enemy while checking his emails. Your good friend Heavenly Emperor was attacked by your enemy Demon Emperor. Your good friend Li Daokong was attacked by a mighty figure. Your good friend Huang Zuantian was attacked by a demon race immortal emperor and was severely injured. Fortunately, your good friend Divine General saved him. Your good friend Zhou Fan devoured negative karma ghosts and developed mental demons. Your good friend Ji Xianxian was attacked by demons, X310229. Your disciple Long Hao encountered the attack of your enemy Demon Emperor. His body was destroyed and his soul was suppressed. Your good friend Dao Sovereign has comprehended a chaotic mystical power. His cultivation has increased greatly. The Heavenly Emperor and the Demon Emperor fought? Was this an act or a complete fallout? Visit Light Novel World. For the best novel reading experience. Hanju looked down. When he saw Long Hao being killed, his expression changed drastically. He still liked Long Hao. After all, he had watched this kid grow up. Damn Demon Emperor! You attacked my majesty and killed my disciple. You're courting death. Hanju immediately increased the curse on the Demon Emperor. 5 days later, Hanju's lifespan began to decrease. In order to prevent Long Hao from dying, Hanju decided to curse the Demon Emperor until he developed a problem. Otherwise, there would be more trouble in the future. He stared at his attributes panel and controlled the speed at which his lifespan decreased. On the other side, in a dark palace, Long Hao's soul was imprisoned in an oil lamp. He stared at the Demon Emperor. The Demon Emperor sat on the steps, his body wrapped in a strange black aura. His head kept trembling. He was in a strange state, and he did not know why. Boom! The Demon Emperor suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood, and his body quickly weakened. Damn you, dark forbidden lord. I've already expressed my goodwill, but you still. The demon emperor cursed angrily. But before he could finish, another powerful curse attacked. He was shocked and furious. How could the curse of the dark forbidden lord be so powerful? What kind of dharma treasure was this fellow using? Was it draining his dharmic powers? Even a curse with dharmic powers should not have such an effect. The demon emperor's expression changed drastically. The dharmic powers in his body began to stir as a strange voice sounded in his ears. The revival of the demons depends on you. Can you withstand it? Does the demon court really have a chance to surpass the heavenly court? The heavenly court has the help of the Tao sect. What does the demon court have? Those sages are biased and clearly want to destroy the demons. Why? The voice of his mental demon. The demon emperor gritted his teeth and tried his best to ignore the mental demon's voice. However, it only grew louder. Visit Light Novel World. Com for the best novel_reading experience. Chapter 358 Death of the Demon Emperor. Rise of the Dark Forbidden Lord. Chapter 358 Death of the Demon Emperor. Rise of the Dark Forbidden Lord. Under Long Hao's gaze, the demon emperor's condition became more and more amiss. His skin began to bleed, and an extremely dangerous aura spread, causing Long Hao to shiver. Someone is cursing him just like me earlier. A voice sounded in Long Hao's ears. Long Hao snorted. You deserved it. Who asked you to possess me? This voice was Hao Tian. Hao Tian's soul shrank in the depths of Long Hao's soul, unable to be removed. Hao Tian said angrily, Brat, can't I help you become stronger? Now we're being targeted by that whatever dark forbidden lord guy. It won't be good in the future. Long Hao secretly asked in surprise, is the dark forbidden lord really that powerful? Even you, the strongest heavenly emperor, can't do anything? If I recover my cultivation, I won't be afraid of him. Unfortunately, what will happen to the demon emperor? Will he follow in the footsteps of the heavenly Tao Buddha? That was very likely. Hao Tian's tone was solemn. He was clearly afraid of the dark forbidden lord. Boom! The demon emperor's body exploded and blood splattered across the hall. A black soul that looked like the figure of a beast twisted wantonly, looking terrifying. Terrifying dharmic powers wreaked havoc in the hall. Long Hao's oil lamp also shook violently. Everything in the hall shook like a huge earthquake. The demon emperor's killing intent erupted, causing Long Hao to be terrified. Is this the Zenith Heaven realm? Long Hao was secretly shocked. Although he was already a Grand Unity Golden Immortal, facing a Zenith Heaven cultivator, he felt as tiny as a worm. Hao Tian suddenly shouted, be careful. He can't withstand his dharmic powers anymore. He's going to explode. Explode? Long Hao was shocked. The demon emperor suddenly roared, Dark Forbidden Lord! I will definitely not let you go. As long as there is a chance of survival, I will definitely kill my way back. Demons, listen up. The Dark Forbidden Lord plotted to harm the providence of the demons. He's the eternal enemy of the demons. We won't rest until he's dead. This voice resounded throughout the myriad worlds. Visit Light Novel World. Com for a better_reading experience. Even the hidden sect in the 9 nether purgatory could hear it. The disciples of the hidden sect were speechless. The Dark Forbidden Lord is really strong. Even the demon emperor has been harmed. The Black Hell Demon Lord sighed. He knew best how strong the demon emperor was. In the demon court, the demon emperor was extremely domineering. Almost all of them were defeated and subdued. Diamond Rage sighed. I wonder who the Dark Forbidden Lord is. All the disciples were curious about the Dark Forbidden Lord. They felt that in this calamity, the strongest was the Dark Forbidden Lord. Tao Comprehension Sword fell into deep thought as she glanced at the Khanate cave abode. At the same time, inside the Khanate cave abode, Hanju's face was covered in blood, and his eyes were bloodshot. He had already lost more than 13 billion years of his lifespan. Why isn't this fellow dead yet? Because of your curse, your enemy demon emperor had his mental demons wreak havoc. His dharmic powers went berserk, and he couldn't withstand the turmoil. His monstrous negative karma began to wreak havoc. His soul exploded and he died. The image of the demon emperor vanished. Hanju immediately stopped. He exhaled. He was finally dead. Fortunately, The demon emperor had slaughtered too many lives and was covered in negative karma. Otherwise, Hanju would really not be able to curse him to death. It seemed that negative karma was really dangerous for those who entered the calamity. Hanju put down the Book of Misfortune and started to recuperate and adjust his state. Visit lightnovelworld.com for the best novel_reading experience. Once the demon emperor died, the demon court would definitely be in chaos. This was the heavenly court's chance. It was up to the heavenly court now. A month later, Hanju finished cursing the other enemies and continued cultivating. Although the Book of Misfortune was powerful, he couldn't rely on it too much. He still had to try his best to become stronger. Heavenly Court, Numinous Palace, Gathering of Gods. Both the immortals and the cultivators of the Tao sect were very excited. The demon emperor had actually perished. The martial god general sighed. This dark forbidden lord is too strong. Will he become an enemy of the heavenly court? Jing Tiandong said, not necessarily. If he wants to fight for providence, he should enter the calamity. Otherwise, if he hides in the dark and curses, it will also be giving providence to others. It's a waste of effort. I think he has a greater goal. Perhaps it's not limited to fighting for power. The immortals rolled their eyes. They had interacted with each other for a period of time, and knew that Jing Tiangong worshipped the dark forbidden lord, and was hopeless. At this moment, a heavenly soldier rushed in and shouted, "Report the demon court's army has dispersed." The heavenly emperor stood up and laughed. Very good. Immortal gods, listen up. Raise your troops and attack the demons. I want to completely disband the demon court in 100 years. On the other side, West Heaven. In a grand temple, the Divine Might Buddha gathered with the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas and Arhats. Divine Might Buddha said expressionlessly, "Haven't you found the dark forbidden lord yet?" Although the death of the heavenly Tao Buddha infuriated the Buddhist sect, they didn't dare to hate the dark forbidden lord. It was only because the heavenly Tao Buddha was transformed from a corpse of the devil ancestor that he could be said to be a spy. This matter embarrassed the Buddhist sect, causing them to not dare to pursue the matter. The entire immortal world was mocking and questioning them. A Buddha said, "Other than the divine palaces Zhu pretending to be the dark forbidden lord, there are also the dark forbidden lord, the ancient races and so on. On the surface, there are no less than 100 dark forbidden lords. It's impossible to tell for the time being. There were too many dark forbidden lords. Ever since the death of the heavenly Tao Buddha, the believers of the dark forbidden lord had appeared in the immortal world like bamboo shoots after the rain. They developed separately and spread throughout the immortal world, showing signs of success. Visit to lightnovelworld.com discover_new novels. Divine Might Buddha asked, "Is the heavenly court affected by the dark forbidden lord?" "Yes, including the heavenly emperor. He's often cursed, but we can't tell if he's really being cursed by the dark forbidden lord," replied a bodhisattva. The Divine Might Buddha sighed. The situation became more and more chaotic. He had been in seclusion for so many years, and was not very familiar with the situation in the immortal world. Now an unknown new figure had appeared. He had a headache. "No, I have to gather the other Buddhas," Divine Might Buddha thought to himself. 10 years later, while cultivating, Hanju took out the Book of Misfortune and cursed while checking his emails. Your good friend Long Hao has obtained the inheritance of a mysterious mighty figure. He has learned the heavenly Tao mystical power, and his cultivation has increased greatly. Your good friend Huang Zuantian was attacked by Jie School cultivators, X407. Your good friend Ji Xianxian has obtained Demon Emperor origin, and his cultivation has increased greatly. Your grand disciple Feng Liang obtained the Demon Emperor Supreme Treasure. His providence has increased greatly. Your good friend Heavenly Emperor was cursed by a mysterious curse. Your good friend Tao Sovereign dreamed of meeting a sage. After some guidance, his cultivation has increased greatly. Your good friend Empress Hudu has left the netherworld. Your good friend Tai Sutian jumped into the river of destiny and reincarnated. Could the mysterious mighty figure that Long Hao encountered be Hao Tian? Thinking about it carefully, Long Hao and Hao Tian were a little like the relationship between a fantasy protagonist and an old grandpa. If they couldn't be separated, Perhaps Hao Tian would be Long Hao's fortuitous encounter. Ji Xianxian and Fang Liang were tied together? Why did they keep hanging around together? Han Ju was still most concerned about Dao Sovereign. The word sage was truly blinding. Didn't they say that the sages wouldn't interfere in the immeasurable calamity? Han Ju couldn't help but tense up. The calamity that the sages participated in could be said to be devastating. Previously, when the two worlds were inverted, it was because of a sage. Han Ju looked down. Suddenly feeling something, his expression changed slightly. Visit Light Novel World. Calm for a better user experience, he put down the Book of Misfortune and scanned with his divine sense. A large number of living beings appeared in an area of the 9 nether purgatory. These living beings were like humans and magi, with men and women. They gathered together and seemed to be very noisy. Han Ju caught Meng Po's aura, but he felt that it was different. Han Ju caught Meng Po's aura, but he felt that it was different. The aura of reincarnation. Empress Hutu. Could these living beings be created by Empress Hutu? Why are you here? A female voice entered Han Ju's ears. It was similar to Meng Po's, but it was younger and more beautiful. Han Ju knew that his divine sense had been exposed, so he asked, Senior Meng Po? Meng Po's already dead. You can call me Empress Hutu. Empress Hutu's tone was very gentle without any arrogance. Inexplicably no longer nervous, Han Ju said, So it's Empress Hutu. It's truly my honor to meet you. Her cultivation level was still unknown. This meant that she was at least a Zenith Heaven cultivator, or even a sage. How many people from my Magus race are with you? Empress Hutu's voice sounded again. The two of them were communicating with their divine sense. Other than them, no one else could hear them. Han Ju replied, 2. You want to see them? No need. I'm just asking. These are members of my newly created race. What do you think the name should be? Empress Hutu asked with a smile. Her tone was casual, and Han Ju inevitably felt close to her. He couldn't help but be wary. The more amicable she was, the more dangerous it was. What if Empress Hutu suddenly attacked him one day? Han Ju took a deep breath and said, This matter should naturally be decided by you. How can I cross the line? It's fine. Go ahead. I'll see if it's suitable. Han Ju remained silent. How ridiculous. Follow new episodes on the Light Novel World. Platform. Was she trying to tie him to this new race? If Han Ju named them, he would definitely have karma with this race in the future. But if he rejected, wouldn't that offend Empress Hutu? Didn't you say you would be my backing? Why do you want to harm me? Han Ju was dissatisfied with Empress Hutu and felt that she was not nice. At this moment, Empress Hutu smiled and said, Are you still afraid of being tainted by karma? You cultivate the Tao of reincarnation. I created the cycle of reincarnation. The karma between you and me has actually been buried long ago. Why do you need to differentiate between us? Han Ju asked. What relationship do you have with the mortal Emperor Samsara? He's only a child who has gone astray. A long time ago, I established the cycle of reincarnation. After the cycle of reincarnation was born, a trace of life appeared. That trace of life developed into him. However, he was very strong. He had always wanted to escape the cycle of reincarnation and dominate reincarnation. After so many years, I don't know what he wants or what he's doing. Empress Hutu's answer shocked Han Ju. In that case, immortal Emperor Samsara was equivalent to Empress Hutu's son? Han Ju pinched his fingers to deduce, and discovered that he indeed had karma with Samsara. This was the profundity of karma. After reaching the Emperor realm, one could deduce clues. After reaching the deity realm, one could even deduce all the karma related to them, unless the karma involved an even stronger existence. Han Ju and the Tao of reincarnation did have karma. In that case, there was indeed no need to worry. Han Ju said in a low voice, Why don't we call them the Nether race? They will live in the 9 nether purgatory for a long time. They won't enter the calamity or the world. Not entering the calamity, not entering the world. He had deliberately mentioned these 2 points. This was the original intention of this name. If the Nether race went against the original intention of this name in the future, the heavenly Tao would judge them. and he might have a way to get rid of them. Empress Huda smiled and said, "Sure. From now on, they will be called the Nether Race. The Nether Race will not enter the calamity, and will not enter the world. If they disobey, the heavens will destroy them." Boom! Thunderclouds appeared above the fiends. It was the heavenly Tao thundercloud. Hanju was secretly shocked. He didn't expect Empress Hudu to be so decisive. For more _novel, visit Light Novel World. It seemed that the lesson of the Magus race was too deep, causing Empress Hutu to be very afraid. At this moment, thunderclouds also appeared in the sky above Hidden Sect Island. Hanju's expression changed. Crap! His location was being exposed. Diately controlled the Hidden Sect Island to escape, but the heavenly Tao thundercloud followed closely behind. Wherever the Hidden Sect Island went, it followed. Its speed was not slow at all, as if they were one. Hanju quickly gave up. The heavenly Tao thundercloud parted, and a golden light descended. It directly penetrated the Tao Field's array formation, and landed on the Cultivate Diligently Become Immortal mountain. It pierced through the stone, but it didn't cause any damage. Finally it landed on Hanju. The disciples under the Fusang tree were stunned. Heavenly Tao merit. How is that possible? The Black Hell Demon Lord widened his eyes in shock. Diamond Rage and Duan Hongchen were both moved. Chu Shuren frowned and muttered. What did he do? Morongqi asked in surprise. The legendary Heavenly Tao merit? Hasn't Grandmaster always been in the cave abode? How can he do something like that? The other disciples were curious. The Heavenly Tao merit sounded very powerful. At the same time, Hanju was in the Heavenly Tao merit. He was so nervous at first that he thought he was going to die. Unexpectedly, the golden light was warm, causing his cultivation level to increase. Detected that this is your first time obtaining Heavenly Tao merit. You have the following choices. 1. Absorb the Heavenly Tao merit and become controlled by the Heavenly Tao. You can obtain a mystical power inheritance. 2. Suppress the Heavenly Tao merit and use it for yourself. You can obtain a great Tao fragment. Hanju widened his eyes. He hurriedly stopped transforming the Heavenly Tao merit into his cultivation. He projected them into the world of stars and sealed them. Hanju heaved a sigh of relief. Try the Light Novel World. Platform _ for the most advanced _ reading experience. Could this Heavenly Tao merit be because he had given the Nether Race a name? Wow! It was probably very difficult for ordinary living beings to resist the Heavenly Tao merit. It was truly exaggerated to convert the merit into cultivation level. It was better than many years of bitter cultivation. If he completely absorbed the Heavenly Tao merit, Hanju felt that he might directly break through to the two mystic divine origin realm. However, he didn't want to become a subordinate of the Heavenly Tao. Looking at the Heavenly Tao Buddha, he was probably controlled by the Heavenly Tao. Because he had too much negative karma, he was judged by the Heavenly Tao as an anomaly, so he was killed. Hanju guessed that negative karma was related to the Heavenly Tao. 5 minutes later, Hanju finally suppressed this Heavenly Tao merit and stored it in his sea of stars. He scanned the Nether Race with his divine sense and said, "Thank you, Empress. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to obtain this merit." Empress Huda smiled and said, "It's fine. In the future, the Nether Race will stay in the 9 Nether Purgatory. I hope you can take care of them. Don't worry, I'll visit them often. Currently, there's no threat in the 9 Nether Purgatory. I've already greeted that primordial Yuan Phoenix. There's also another fellow. Although he's roaming free, he's quite timid." The reckless coward should be Pan-Xian. Hanju asked curiously, "Is the Heavenly Tao merit very useful?" Of course. Most sages rely on merit to ascend, including some Zenith Heaven Golden Immortals. Empress Huda's answer made Hanju sigh. The system was indeed from the primordial chaos, and was superior to all living beings in the Heavenly Tao. By relying on merit to become a sage, he might be above all living beings, but he would also be controlled by the Heavenly Tao and be unable to escape. If the Heavenly Tao was destroyed, the sages would be destroyed. Therefore, they had no choice but to defend the Heavenly Tao. It had to be said that the will of the Heavenly Tao was very terrifying. It didn't have the intelligence of a living being. It wouldn't target a certain person. But its will was the highest, and could not be altered. The more Hanju thought about it, the more terrified he became. For some reason, he felt that at the end of the cultivation path, he might become an enemy of the heavenly Tao. If he wanted to truly transcend, he would definitely have to be invincible. He would definitely not be controlled by the heavenly Tao. The source of this _chapter, Light Novel World. Com. Actually, being controlled by the heavenly Tao was not a bad thing. Many living beings would find it difficult to reach the deity realm, even if they lived for 10 lifetimes, 100 lifetimes, or 10,000 lifetimes, let alone zenith heaven, pseudo-sages and sages. Under such circumstances, he didn't dare to imagine what it would be like to surpass the heavenly Tao. Actually, being controlled by the heavenly Tao was not a bad thing. Many living beings would find it difficult to reach the deity realm, even if they lived for 10 lifetimes, 100 lifetimes, or 10,000 lifetimes, let alone zenith heaven, pseudo-sages and sages. Under such circumstances, he didn't dare to imagine what it would be like to surpass the heavenly Tao. Just like how mortals couldn't imagine what was outside the universe. When strength reached the limit, it was absolutely impossible to differentiate between high and low. Sages were omnipotent and undying. How strong were existences that surpassed them? Even Hanju couldn't imagine it. Hanju asked curiously, "Is there no mighty figure who doesn't rely on merit to attain the Tao?" "Yes, you have the aura of the Tao of Karma on you. You must have been to the great ultimate hall beyond the 33rd level. Ancestor Shitian is the one." Empress Huda's answer shocked Hanju. Was Ancestor Shitian that impressive? Hanju asked. What about the Tao Ancestor? Empress Huda smiled and said, Tao Ancestor? That's definitely the top existence in cultivation. A long time ago, he fused with the heavenly Tao. He has not appeared for the last 5 immeasurable calamities. His traces are difficult to track even for sages. Hanju was even more curious about the Tao Ancestor now. He hadn't appeared for the last 5 immeasurable calamities. So how did the Heavenly Emperor meet the Tao Ancestor? Could it be that the Heavenly Emperor had never seen him before? But the inheritance of the Heavenly Court let him know that they had the backing of the Tao Ancestor? It was very likely. Hanju always felt that the Heavenly Emperor had a habit of bragging, and was often slapped in the face. Before the calamity began, the Heavenly Emperor had boasted several times that he wanted to destroy the Demon Court and the Jie School. In the end, he had turned enemies into friends. Do you want to come out and meet them? Empress Huta asked. Hanju replied, forget it. Let them cultivate well. I don't expect much. Alright, that's all. If the 9 Nether Purgatory is in trouble, I'll help. Don't worry. After Empress Huda said that, her aura completely vanished. Hanju retracted his divine sense and fell into deep thought. This event was very meaningful. This was the first time Hanju came into contact with the existence of the heavenly Tao merit. It also gave him a preliminary understanding of the sages and the heavenly Tao. At this moment, a loud laugh sounded. Brat, I finally found you. Let's see if you can still hide. Boom. This _ content is taken from Light Novel World. The formation of Hidden Sect Island was attacked. The attacker was Pan Xian. Pan Xian actually wanted to barge in. Hanju was furious. Was there something wrong with this fellow? With a thought, he immediately sent Lu Bu to try his luck. In the dark void, Pan Xian kept waving his hand at a stone when a figure suddenly appeared in front of him. It was Lu Bu. Pan Xian widened his eyes and suddenly retreated. His expression darkened as he gritted his teeth. Zhu, why are you here? Lu Bu was expressionless. Without another word, he attacked. 2 vast dermic powers collided, shaking the void of the 9 Nether Purgatory. It stirred endless negative karma and swayed like a dragon. Pan Xian shouted, You're actually hiding here. I'm not playing with you anymore. With that, he fled. Hanju was speechless. This fellow was really timid. Hanju had used the simulation trial to copy Pan Xian's cultivation. After confirming that he had really escaped, he called Lu Bu back and started the simulation trial himself. He fought Pan Xian. He wanted to assess his strength. With the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus, Pan Xing couldn't break through the defense of the heavenly Tao Supreme Treasure, but he could still injure Han Ju by penetrating it. Several minutes later, the defense of the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus shattered, and Han Ju was insta-killed. This fellow should be stronger than Zhu Tuesday. He could be part of the first row of listeners in the Great Ultimate Hall. But why was he so afraid of Zhu Tu? Was it because he was timid, or did Zhu Tu have another background? Han Ju felt that it was the latter. He had deduced the future. Zhu Tu was related to the person from Niwa Imperial Palace, and was probably supported by it. Thinking of this, Han Ju discovered that he hadn't used the derivation function for a long time. So be it. Read at Wuxia World. EU. I want to know who the greatest winner of this immeasurable calamity is. Han Ju thought in his heart that after the calamity ended, there would definitely be more than one person who would win. There might be allies, subordinates, and so on. It could be said that when one person obtained the Tao, all his friends would ascend to the heavens. 1 billion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? So much. Han Ju silently chose to continue. Then he felt dizzy. When Han Ju opened his eyes again, he saw the future sky. There were green mountains and rivers around him, and the scenery was as beautiful as a painting. He heaved a sigh of relief. Compared to the previous apocalyptic scenes, this was undoubtedly wonderful. It seemed that he had succeeded in saving the world. Oh everyone, do you know what the dark forbidden lord you despised did for you? Han Ju felt that he was very noble. He silently changed the situation of the heavenly Tao, and saved the immortal world, and the heavens again and again. At this moment, Han Ju saw two figures land. His eyes widened. They were Han Ju and Tao Comprehension Sword. This Han Ju wore a white robe, and was handsome. His every move emitted a terrifying aura stronger than the heavenly emperor. Tao Comprehension Sword had a cold temperament. She walked beside Han Ju, and was not humble at all. Unlike her current self in the Khanate cave abode, the two of them landed halfway up the mountain, and turned to look at the world. Tao Comprehension Sword asked, "How long can your mystical power last?" The future Han Ju smiled and said, "For eternity." He raised his arms and stretched. He smiled and said, "I use my mystical power to trap all living beings. I'm the heavenly Tao now. From now on, I will rule the heavenly Tao. All living beings will no longer face calamity unless I don't like them." His tone was filled with smugness. Han Ju frowned. Visit Light Novel World. Calm for a better user experience. Was he so arrogant in the future? What was that mystical power? The stellar primordial world in the depths of his soul? Something was wrong. He couldn't be like this. This fellow isn't me? Han Ju was extremely afraid. Could he have been possessed? Those sages are already gone, but I feel that it's not so easy to replace the heavenly Tao. Otherwise, why hasn't this happened in the past? Tao Comprehension Sword frowned. The future Han Ju smiled disdainfully and said, "After the calamity ended, other than you, me, and the living beings I control in the immortal world, all the other characters are dead. Who can threaten us? The heavenly Tao is only a set of laws." Tao Comprehension Sword shook her head. The future Han Ju smiled and said, "By the way, should we create a heavenly court and let you become the heavenly emperor?" Tao Comprehension Sword snorted. "It's meaningless. You better be careful of that fellow. He has a close relationship with the heavenly court. You slaughtered the heavenly court and his disciples. He will definitely not let you go. He must be hiding in the dark. He might come and find trouble with you at any time. I know him too well. He's afraid of death. He won't provoke the current me." The future Han Ju shook his head and laughed. Han Ju realized something, and was about to continue watching when the scene shattered. When his consciousness returned to the Khanate cave abode, Han Ju opened his eyes and frowned. Who is that dog? From their conversation, the heavenly court had been destroyed. Wasn't the fellow hiding in the dark Han Ju himself? This fellow was indeed not him. Han Ju was furious. Why was there another problem now? Where did this fake Han Ju and Tao Comprehension Sword come from? Han Ju thought silently. I want to know who will become me and Tao Comprehension Sword. 2 billion years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? Why did it double? Han Ju frowned even more. He didn't like to be trapped by schemes. He wanted to see through everything. Visit Light Novel World. Com for a better user experience. Continue. When Hanju chose to continue, two figures appeared in his mind, and two lines of words appeared in front of him. When Hanju chose to continue, two figures appeared in his mind, and two lines of words appeared in front of him. Taisutian Cultivation Unknown. A mysterious existence nurtured by the 33-layered heavens. She lives in Nuwa Imperial Palace all year round, and listens to the sages preach. Under the orders of the sage, she descended into the mortal world, and entered the calamity. Tao Comprehension Sword was created as one of her clones to comprehend the Tao. Greedy Lord. 6 Mystic Divine Origin. The first servant of immortal Emperor Samsara. He obeyed immortal Emperor Samsara, but as his cultivation level increased, he gradually gained his own ambitions. Hanju showed a frown. It was Taisutian. Taisutian's portrait was different from Tao Comprehension Sword, so he had never connected them together. He didn't expect Taisutian to have a clone. Wait. In addition to the heaven-mending stone that Taisutian had thrown to Feng Liang, Nuwa Imperial Palace had definitely targeted him. Hanju felt his blood run cold. If he didn't have the system, he wouldn't have been able to sense the existence of Nuwa Imperial Palace. The heaven-mending stone could be regarded as Feng Liang's fortuitous encounter, and Tao Comprehension Sword's previous owner did not leave any clues. The sages were high and mighty. They said that they wouldn't enter the calamity, but they were actually secretly manipulating the situation. Zhu Tu seemed to be a pawn of Nuwa Imperial Palace. As for this greedy lord, Hanju had never heard of him before. From his appearance, he was extremely ugly. Why did he have to pretend to be Hanju? Could this be the instructions of immortal Emperor Samsara? No. The greatest winner in the future would be Greedy Lord, not immortal Emperor Samsara. In addition, the information indicated that Greedy Lord had his own ambitions. It meant that this fellow had already become rebellious. He might even harm immortal Emperor Samsara in the future. How interesting. Hanju laughed in anger. For more _novel, visit Light Novel World. The immortal world was really complicated. Other than the big shots on the surface, many people were hiding in the dark waiting for an opportunity. Hanju wondered if he should directly curse Taisutian and Greedy Lord? No. If he killed them like this, something might happen again. He would wait for a while and deal with them after they surfaced. They definitely didn't expect Hanju to already know their plot. With their strength, it was impossible for them to overturn the heavenly court in a short period of time, much less threaten the hidden sect. Hanju called Tao Comprehension Sword in. He seemed to be preaching the Tao for her. But in fact, he took the opportunity to deepen the 6 paths insignia to prevent Taisutian from playing any tricks. The 6 paths insignia didn't affect Tao Comprehension Sword normally. Hanju was only making preparations. Too many mighty figures have perished. Hanju had to be cautious. Even Zenith Heaven experts could die, let alone him. In a vast underground cave, countless figures gathered. There were people, demons, and ghosts. Wearing a black robe, Xian Qingjun mixed into the crowd. She looked ahead. Several kilometers away, there was a high platform. On the platform stood dozens of existences emitting powerful auras. They were discussing something. I didn't expect the darkness sect to be mixed with so many factions. Where did the dark forbidden lord come from? Xian Qingjun was shocked. She had joined the darkness sect by chance. As for the Jie school, she felt that there was no future for her there. The sect master of the Jie school no longer cared about anything. The elders and the island masters were fighting openly and secretly. They were no longer the Providence sect of the legends. They were more like a crazy mob. After a while, a voice sounded, quiet. Try the Light Novel World. Platform for the most advanced reading experience. All the waiting disciples of the darkness sect shut up and turned to look. If Hanju was here, he would discover that the speaker was Shui Mingyi, who had escaped from the 9 nether purgatory. Shui Mingyi, whose body was burning with blood qi, stood at the edge of the platform and looked down at everyone. He said, "There are too many detestable people in the current immortal world. pretending to be the Dark Forbidden Lord, including Zhu Tu of the Divine Palace. We're all believers of the Dark Forbidden Lord. How can we tolerate this? We have to do something for him. Unconsciously, he will watch us and look forward to our performance. Do you want to gain the Dark Forbidden Lord's favor? Everyone became excited. Yes. The shouts gathered together and shook the entire underground cave. Xian Qingjun was also shocked. This was the first time she had seen such a scene in the immortal world. She had never seen it in the Jie school before. She couldn't understand. Why was the Dark Forbidden Lord so charismatic? Although he was indeed very strong, and had forced the heavenly Tao Buddha and the demon emperor to die, he had never appeared. Xue Mingyi continued with a smile. Since some time ago, the myriad worlds had been divided by the Divine Palace, the Heavenly Court, the Buddhist sect, and the Demon Court. They are high and mighty, and set the rules of the myriad worlds. However, from time to time, conflicts will erupt between them, causing countless living beings to rush to the netherworld, and even perish in body and soul. However, no matter how many wars there are, the ones who will die will always be us, the weak factions. The four overlords are still overlords, and all living beings are pawns in their game. As they laugh, countless living beings will die. This despairing situation is finally broken. It's him. The Dark Forbidden Lord. He appeared out of nowhere, and cursed the Buddhist sect's heavenly Tao Buddha to reveal his true form. The mighty Buddhist sect actually had the devil ancestor becoming a Buddha. It's truly ridiculous. There's also the demon emperor who went mad and slaughtered the immortal world. The heavenly emperor, the master of the divine palace, and the Buddha didn't dare to attack. It was also the Dark Forbidden Lord who personally took action to eliminate this disaster. Now the world is filled with fake Dark Forbidden Lords. This is an insult to him. We have to represent the orthodox lineage of the Dark Forbidden Lord and eliminate these imposters. Because only we truly fear the Dark Forbidden Lord and truly respect him. I, Xue Mingyi, represent the Azura race to join the Darkness sect. When the calamity begins, the Azura race will definitely be the first. Are you all willing to sacrifice everything for the Dark Forbidden Lord and the whole world? All the living beings shouted in unison. Even Xian Qingjun felt her blood boiling. This belief was too strong. It could let the Darkness sect become united. This underscore content is taken from Light Novel World. As long as the Dark Forbidden Lord did not lose, the Darkness sect would be an invincible army. Xian Qingjun was also looking forward to it. Perhaps following the Darkness sect would allow her to obtain a great opportunity in the calamity. She couldn't help but think of Han Ju. His strength had already surpassed hers, but he was timid by nature and was afraid of the calamity. After this calamity ends, if the Darkness sect can laugh until the end, I can help introduce him. Xian Qingjun smiled. Back then, in order to comprehend the Tao, she accidentally found Han Ju to be her Tao companion. After so many years, the only person she could remember was him. The others had already turned to dust. 10 years passed. Han Ju stopped cultivating and started cursing the enemy. Tao Comprehension Sword was basically staying outside the cave and cultivating with Liao. Unless Han Ju called for her, she wouldn't take the initiative to return. Han Ju sighed. It was true that girls like to leave home after reaching maturity. At the same time, he relaxed a lot. With Tao Comprehension Sword beside him, he would always be a little wary. Han Ju cursed as he checked his emails regularly. Nothing major had happened recently. The emails looked boring. A month later, Han Ju put down the Book of Misfortune. He suddenly had an idea. I want to see what Greedy Lord is doing, Han Ju thought silently. 10 million years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? After all, he was a 6 mystic divine origin expert. He was very close to the Zenith Heaven realm. However, 10 million years of lifespan was nothing to the current Han Ju. Visit to Light Novel World. Discover _new novels. Continue. Continue. Han Ju silently made his choice. Immediately after, he felt dizzy. When he opened his eyes again, he was in a dark palace. A figure sat in the hall. It was Greedy Lord. He was dressed in white, and his black hair was naturally disheveled. His face was ugly, and his facial features were distorted, as if they had been crushed into a ball. His hands kept changing hand seals as he cultivated. At this moment, immortal Emperor Samsara appeared in front of him. It was still Detaibai's appearance. Greedy Lord hurriedly knelt down and bowed humbly. Immortal Emperor Samsara said, "The two geniuses I nurtured have already entered the calamity. Don't stay idle. Go and protect them. Remember, don't be discovered by them." Hearing this, Greedy Lord replied, "No problem." Immortal Emperor Samsara flipped his right hand and took out a purple divine jade. He handed it to Greedy Lord and said, "This treasure is for you just in case." Greedy Lord was pleasantly surprised and immediately thanked Immortal Emperor Samsara. Immortal Emperor Samsara vanished. Greedy Lord put away the Dharma treasure and continued cultivating. The scene shattered. Hanju's consciousness returned to reality. He frowned. That's it? 10 million years of lifespan in exchange for this? Hanju felt cheated. It was so uncomfortable. He saw nothing. He only saw a character relationship that he knew all along. Hanju didn't dare to look at Tai Sutian anymore. Forget it. This _ content is taken from Light Novel World. In any case, these two couldn't threaten Hanju for the time being. They were still very weak for the time being. Hanju only needed to observe their cultivation level and kill them before they obtained a great opportunity. I can't change the situation too early, or new and stronger figures will appear. Hanju thought silently. After all, he didn't enter the tribulation. Under such circumstances, everything he did could easily be used by others. Then he stopped thinking and continued cultivating. He wanted to reach the two mystic divine origin as soon as possible. Even if he reached the deity realm, his cultivation could not stop. He had to strengthen steadily. 30 years passed in the blink of an eye. Hanju's cultivation level had been increasing. The deity realm cultivated divine origin, which was also a form of dharmic powers. He no longer cultivated using qi, but absorbed negative karma. After reaching the deity realm, immortal qi would lose its effect. Deity realm cultivators needed higher level energy. Hanju discovered that the connate qi emitted by the Bujo divine flower was suitable for deity realm cultivation. However, there was only one Bujo divine flower, and it couldn't be given to Hanju to cultivate. He was only nurturing the Bujo divine flower now and didn't use it. What was worth mentioning was that the resurrection lily given by Meng Pa had been increasing. Now, the field of lilies had already reached the outside of the cave abode. Hanju didn't stop it, and let it grow. The immortal qi of Hidden Sect Island increased steadily. While Hanju became stronger, the other disciples also became stronger. Among them, Li Yao had already reached the late-stage Grand Unity Golden Immortal Realm. Only Chu Shuren could compare. Morong Qi and Lu Huaxi were slightly weaker. Pan Xian didn't look for him again. Besides cultivating, Hanju would also pay attention to the nether race. The fiends gathered in a corner of the 9 nether purgatory. There was no land, no food, and even no enemies. They could only cultivate endlessly. Hanju discovered that the nether race had the strong physique of the Magus race, and also the essence soul of the human race. They didn't look like Diamond Rage, but more like Tu Linger. They bore the good qualities of both humans and magi perfectly. This race had great potential. Hanju kept hesitating if he should accept them. Empress Hutu was clearly expressing her goodwill to him. They had a total of 10,000 people. Without reproduction, they were still a small group. But in the future, they would definitely become a powerful force. Let's observe for another 1,000 years. If they all have the mentality to cultivate diligently, we can nurture them. Hanju thought like this. There was still the reroll world hidden in the depths of his soul. It was fine if there was another race, but he was afraid that this race would not be able to tolerate loneliness and cause trouble for him. Just as Hanju was cursing and thinking about these questions, Jiang Yi's divine sense aura came from the Golden Crow token. Hanju took it out and contacted him. Read at Wuxia World. You don't talk to me about opportunities. Hanju said angrily. Jiang Yi said angrily. Who do you think I am? Then what is it? It's like this. After I returned to the Golden Crow Divine Clan, I discovered that the clan has changed. The elders have become radical. All of them want to enter the calamity and rule the myriad worlds. If this continues, I'll probably be unable to cultivate properly in the future, and be forced to enter the calamity to fight. Speaking of this, Jiangyi was very troubled. Ever since he knew Hanju's cultivation level, he had an epiphany. He had risked his life to fight for providence and opportunities. But Hanju had overtaken him, and even left him far behind. How could he stand it? He was the #1 prodigy of the Golden Crow Divine Clan. The path of entering the tribulation was clearly wrong. Hanju was right. Prodigies like them didn't need to enter the calamity at all. Entering the tribulation was a waste of time. Hanju said. In that case, leave the Golden Crow Divine Clan, and find a place to cultivate. The world is vast and there are battles everywhere. Where can I go? I don't want to join the heavenly court. Jiangyi's tone was filled with helplessness. Hanju understood what he meant. He snorted. Then there's no choice. Everyone has their own fate. Just accept it. Brat, do you dislike me so much? Back then, the Golden Crow Divine Emperor chased after you. I stood up for you, and was almost beaten to death by him. Jiangyi's tone was very bitter. Hanju almost had goosebumps. He did remember this matter. Jiangyi really did that for him. Thinking of this, Hanju couldn't help but become soft-hearted. He hesitated and then said, Then, you can come to seek refuge with me. But there's one thing. Here you will listen to me. I won't let you take the risk, but I won't let you act recklessly either. You can find the rest of this content on the light novel world. Platform. Jiangyi chuckled. That's more like it. Where are you? I'll go find you. Hanju silently used the derivation function. Is Jiangyi plotting against me? 1,000,000 years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? Continue. No, Hanju was relieved. He suddenly realized that the derivation function could also be used as a lie detector. It could be used like this in the future. 9 Nether Purgatory. What? Yes. Are you coming? Are you crazy? Jiangyi was shocked. He felt that Hanju was joking. Hanju snorted. Don't expose me. If you really want to come, you can think of a way to enter the 9 Nether Purgatory. Remember, you can't tell anyone about this, including your clansmen. Otherwise, we will cut ties. All right. Just you wait. Jiangyi ended the divine sense connection after saying that. He was clearly agitated. Hanju put down the Golden Crow token and couldn't help but sigh. The hidden sect had strengthened again. Unknowingly, the #1 prodigy of the Golden Crow Divine Clan had also joined. However, Jiangyi might not really leave the clan. It wasn't bad to form goodwill in the future. No matter how powerful a force was, it was impossible for them to not have good karma. The demon court was related to many ancient races. The heavenly court was backed by the Tao sect, and the divine palace was closely related to the human race's sacred dynasty. The Buddhist sect also had countless believers. Hanju continued cursing. After cursing all his enemies, he continued cultivating. Several months passed. Visit lightnovelworld.com. For the best novel_reading experience, Empress Huda came. Her aura filled the 9 Nether Purgatory, but she did not say a word. After Hanju sensed her aura, he knew that she was looking for him. Even sages couldn't spy on the situation inside the Tao field, so Empress Hutu could only do so. Hanju spread out his divine sense, and quickly arrived in front of Empress Hutu. Hanju spread out his divine sense, and quickly arrived in front of Empress Hutu. Empress Hutu looked at the nether race from afar. It was unknown what she was thinking previously. Hanju had only communicated with Empress Hutu with his divine sense. This was the first time he had seen the real deal. She floated in the void, dressed in a long golden dress. The hem of the dress shimmered with all sorts of stars and was dazzling. She was barefoot, and wore a long feather embedded with a mysterious bird. Her facial features were exquisite and beautiful, and there was kindness between her brows. A wheel-shaped halo with a total of 6 colors floated behind her as it spun slowly. Empress, do you have something to instruct me? Hanju asked. Empress Huda's gaze landed on him. She smiled and said, I want to give you an opportunity. Hanju felt his scalp tingle when he heard the word opportunity. In the past, so many opportunities that hid deep pits had made him believe that opportunities were equivalent to danger. Thank you for your kind intentions, Empress. Forget about the opportunity. I just want to cultivate diligently. Hanju braced himself and replied. Empress Huda smiled and said, What are you thinking about? I've already brought you the opportunity. With a flip of her fair hand, a jade sword appeared in her hand. This is a merit dharma treasure, the immeasurable sword. It can absorb heavenly Tao merit. As the nether race grows stronger, the heavenly Tao merit you obtain will increase. The merit you can't digest in time can be stored in this treasure. With that said, Empress Huda threw the immeasurable sword out. The immeasurable sword was only 30 centimeters long. Rather than calling it a sword, it was more like a dagger. It was entirely green jade and felt cold to the touch. Hanju felt relieved and thanked her. Thank you, Empress. Empress Huda smiled and asked, How's the nether race? Hanju pulled the immeasurable sword into the Khanate cave abode and replied, Very high potential. It has the advantages of both the Magus race and the human race. It's just that it seems, Empress Huda said, they can't reproduce, right? Yes. This is their flaw. Therefore, my plan is not to make them the protagonists of the heavenly Tao. Like the humans, they are to be spread throughout the worlds. I want them to shoulder the responsibility of the immortals and serve all living beings. If they can't reproduce, it will prevent many conflicts over inheritance. However, other than inheritances, their own cultivation will also involve conflicts of interest. Besides, if they become stronger, they will definitely find a way to have descendants. Try the light novel world. Com platform _ for the most advanced _ reading experience. No, they can't reproduce because of the heavenly Tao. They can't use any method to produce descendants. I sacrificed the future of the Magus race in exchange for the birth of the nether race. Hanju remained silent. He didn't believe everything she said. After all, Diamond Rage and Tu Linger were still around. The two of them could find someone else to marry and have children. Sooner or later, they would develop the Magus race. It's not only the nether race. Diamond Rage and Tu Linger are the same. They will be cursed by the heavenly Tao and will never be able to reproduce. The good thing is that they will not be affected by negative karma. From now on, they can openly travel the worlds. Empress Huda's tone was rather helpless. Hanju was secretly shocked. How ruthless. Empress Huda said, I acknowledge your potential. Not only me, but there are actually other sages paying attention to you. You're a variable. I hope that you can accept the nether race. This way, I can focus on managing the cycle of reincarnation. Entrusting him with them? Hanju frowned. One day, you will need to preach the Tao, just like how Ancestor Shitian taught you the Tao of Karma. The more cultivators there are in the Tao of Karma, the stronger he will become. This is a win-win situation. It is very hard to attain the Tao as a lone individual. Of course, after you accept the nether race, if you encounter any trouble in the future, feel free to look for me. Empress Huda said with sincerity. Hanju thought silently. If I accept the nether race, will I be controlled by Empress Hutu or the heavenly Tao? 100 million years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? Previously, when he asked, his lifespan had not been deducted. Could it be that it did not involve the karma of the future? Hanju had no choice but to continue. Another 100 million was used. No, it was worth 100 million. New _ chapters are published on Light Novel World. Hanju heaved a sigh of relief. It seemed that Empress Huda didn't plot against him. He immediately replied, In that case, leave the nether race to me. Empress Huda's favorability towards you has increased. Current favorability 4. 5 stars. Empress Huda smiled and said, Not bad. In the future, you will understand that I'm not harming you. With that, her aura vanished. Hanju looked at the nether race and directly used his divine sense to move them into the Hidden Sect Island. The Hidden Sect Island was very big now. Not to mention 10,000, 10 million people were not a problem. After landing, the members of the nether race all panicked. This was the first time they had encountered such a situation. At this moment Hanju's voice sounded. Empress Hutu entrusted you to me. I was also the one who named you the Nether race. From now on, you can stay on the island and cultivate in peace. There are disciples of my hidden sect on the island. All of you must cultivate diligently, and not have any conflicts. Not only could the Nether race hear his voice, but everyone from the hidden sect also heard it. Everyone under the Fusang tree immediately flew over, very curious about the Nether race. Empress Hutu, Chu Shuren muttered. Beside him Black Hell Demon Lord sighed. Sect Master has always been in seclusion, but he can always expand his network. He's really impressive. Even a sage has entrusted him with a race. It seems that even if our sect master isn't a sage, he's not far from one. The Black Hell Chicken said proudly. I've already guessed that Master is the reincarnation of the Tao ancestor. He's even more powerful than the heavenly Tao. The speaker did not mean anything, but the listener felt something. Chu Shuren frowned after hearing this. For a time, Hidden Sect Island became lively again. Hanju hesitated. Empress Huda's words frightened him. There were other sages targeting him? Apart from Ancestor Shitian's group, and the Nuwa Imperial Palace who had designs on him. Who else could it be? What kind of existence are sages? Could it be that all the worlds are in their eyes? This _ content is taken from Light Novel World. The more Hanju thought about it, the more his blood ran cold. Fortunately, sages could not enter the world. Otherwise, how could he feel safe? No. He had to hurry up and become stronger. He had to increase the array formation of the Tao field to the level of a sage. At that time, even a sage wouldn't be able to break in. Hanju's eyes became firm. He continued cultivating. 25 years later, Jiangyi finally arrived at the 9 Nether Purgatory. He didn't shout or scream. Instead, he erupted his aura and waited for Hanju to come and fetch him. Who didn't know that all the vengeful spirits of the 9 Nether Purgatory had run to the immortal world? This negative karma is really strong. How did he survive? Jiangyi was secretly shocked, and suddenly started to admire Hanju. A powerful divine sense wrapped around him. Before he could react, he was moved into the Hidden Sect Island and landed under the Fusang tree. As soon as he landed, Jiangyi took out his Dharma treasure in fear and prepared to fight. In the end, he saw people around him looking at him with strange expressions. There were 2 golden crows on the tree. This is the #1 prodigy of the Golden Crow Divine Clan, Jiangyi. He will also join the hidden sect to cultivate in the future. Hanju's voice came from the Khanate cave abode. He wasn't afraid that Jiangyi would show off. Just the Black Hell Demon Lord and Diamond Rage were enough to suppress him, let alone the existence of Lu Bu. The Black Hell Demon Lord clicked his tongue in wonder. Why are the geniuses of the Golden Crow Divine Clan here? Previously, when the Demon Emperor tried to rope you in, didn't you reject him and say that you would only serve the Golden Crow Divine Clan? Jiangyi glanced around and snorted. I'm Hanju's good brother. Our relationship is extraordinary. He begged me to come, so how can I not? I'll also show you what talent is. Cultivate well in the future, and catch up to me. Visit Light Novel World. For a better _ user experience. Can you defeat my brother? Can you defeat the old Magus? The Black Hell Chicken jumped down from the tree and shouted. Can you defeat my brother? Can you defeat the old Magus? The Black Hell Chicken jumped down from the tree and shouted. A newcomer is already so arrogant after just entering. I have to teach him a lesson. It was very perceptive. Hanju didn't even invite Jiangyi to the cave abode, which meant that their relationship was not that deep. Jiangyi was immediately displeased. Although the Black Hell Demon Lord was very strong, he did not feel any despair. This meant that the difference between them was not great. Spar. Jiangyi glared at him. The Black Hell Demon Lord smiled and said, All right, let's enter the Sect Master's simulation trial. Simulation trial? What's that? Sect Master's mystical power, that is specially used for fighting. There are also powerful opponents that Sect Master has experienced fighting before. Even the Demon Emperor, the Heavenly Emperor, the Master of the Divine Palace, the Heavenly Tao Buddha, and other mighty figures are here. Really? Jiang Yi was suspicious. This guy really knew how to brag. At this moment, Hanju invited him into the simulation trial. At first, Jiang Yi was very surprised. Hanju directly arranged for Diamond Rage to fight with him. After being beaten up, Jiang Yi's fighting spirit was aroused, and he started to become obsessed with the simulation trial. The Black Hell Chicken looked at the dazed Jiang Yi and shook its head. It sighed and said, "In Master's words, this is another internet addict." Zhou Mingyue shook his head and laughed. He even said that we should catch up to him. This fellow didn't cultivate the moment he came. He will definitely be surpassed by us in the future. The others were also amused. They had more or less been addicted to the simulation trial, and knew how satisfying it was. A battle without fear of death was fatally attractive to cultivators. The battle in the simulation trial was so real. It was as if it was reality. But if he was killed, he wouldn't die or suffer any side effects. Such a mystical power was simply unheard of. Hanju saw that Jiang Yi was starting to become addicted to the simulation trial, and didn't care anymore. He continued cultivating. 40 years passed. Hanju wasn't close to the two mystic divine origin. Now he started to absorb the negative karma of the 9 nether purgatory again. Pan Xen didn't dare to disturb him, so his days were peaceful. Visit Light Novel World.com for the best novel_reading experience. After playing the simulation trial for 10 years, Jiang Yi was deeply affected. He discovered that he was actually not in existence, second only to Hanju and the hidden sect. He had no choice but to cultivate with all his might. The other disciples did the same. Their lives were not disrupted by Jiang Yi and the nether race's arrival. On this day, Hanju took out the Book of Misfortune and started cursing the enemy while checking his emails. Your good friend Tai Sutian has inherited the inheritance of the primordial Queen Mother of the West. Her providence has increased greatly. Your good friend Ji Xianxian has learned the Demon Emperor mystical power. His cultivation has increased greatly. Your good friend Zhou Fan was attacked by a cultivator from the Darkness sect, X32931. Your good friend Heavenly Emperor was cursed by a mysterious curse. Your good friend Immortal Emperor Samsara was attacked by a mysterious mighty figure. Your good friend Zhang Guxing tried to devour the Sword Dao River and suffered a backlash. He was severely injured. Your good friend Huang Zuantian obtained a true dragon race divine weapon. Your disciple Su Qi has cultivated the body of misfortune, and his cultivation has increased greatly. Your good friend Li Daokong slaughtered an ancient race. His negative karma has increased greatly. Hanju watched, and felt that the immortal world had become exciting again. That dog Zhu Tu was still cursing the Heavenly Emperor. He's courting death. Facing Zhu Tu, Hanju was really in a dilemma. Without any favorability or hatred, he didn't know about Zhu Tu's situation. This made him feel that no matter how he cursed him, it was useless. After all, this fellow was the strongest in the calamity. Hanju also noticed that Immortal Emperor Samsara was attacked. It seemed that Immortal Emperor Samsara also had his own grudges. This was also a good thing, in case this fellow wanted to harm him. There was also Zhang Guxing. He actually wanted to devour the Sword Dao River. He was so daring. Hanju used to think that Zhang Guxing was a righteous person who protected the Sword Dao. Now he felt that it was different. Visit Light Novel World.com for the best novel_reading experience. It seemed that when he was imprisoned in the Divine Palace, Zhang Guxing had been provoked. Reading on, Li Daokong had actually slaughtered an ancient race. To be honest, Hanju didn't feel that he was courting death. Even if his negative karma was overwhelming, Li Daokong would probably be able to wash away his negative karma. However, Hanju felt that Li Daokong would be a tragic figure. He had deduced many times in the future, but Li Daokong was not the final winner. Furthermore, the final winner had slaughtered all living beings, which meant that Li Daokong had also died in the calamity. Thinking of this, Hanju couldn't help but warn himself. The experts on the surface were not terrifying. The sinister ones hiding in the dark were. Even with the system around, Hanju couldn't be careless. After all, in the future, he had failed and didn't protect the people he wanted to protect. After cursing the enemy, Hanju continued cultivating. According to his estimations, he was not far from breaking through to the two mystic divine origin. The stellar primordial body was really powerful. It could absorb negative karma and ensure that his cultivation speed was always extremely fast. How difficult was it for ordinary deity realm mighty figures to break through a minor realm? It might even take forever. Hanju was different. Even if he reached the deity realm, he could clearly feel that he was becoming stronger quickly. Not long after he continued cultivating, the heavenly Tao token stirred. The heavenly emperor contacted him. Hanju accepted the call. Can you still deduce Howard recently? The heavenly emperor asked. Hanju asked in surprise. What's wrong with him? Ever since the demon emperor attacked last time, and Howard was captured by him, he has been missing. I tried my best, but still couldn't find him. I had no choice but to ask you. Speaking of this, the heavenly emperor blamed himself. After all, he had not protected his son well. Long Hao was abducted by the demon emperor in the heavenly court. To the heavenly emperor, it was definitely a humiliation, even if the demon emperor had already died. Hanju said, I'll try. He silently activated the derivation function. I want to know where Long Hao is. 50 million years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? So much. Try the light novel world. Com platform _ for the most advanced _ reading experience. But this fellow was not an immortal emperor. Hanju showed a frown. However, when he thought of Hao Tian, he felt relieved. Continue. A line of words appeared in front of him. The answer is not precise. Detected a rough location, in the immortal world, at the 29th heaven. Hanju showed a frown. That's it, he said helplessly. Your Majesty, I can't deduce where he is either, but I sense that he seems to be in the 29th layer of heaven of the immortal world. 29th heaven? Crap. The heavenly emperor was shocked, and hurriedly ended the conversation. The heavenly Tao token stopped shaking. Hanju was surprised. Could there be a secret on the 29th level? He used his interpersonal relationships to check Long Hao's portrait. He was not possessed by Hao Tian. In that case, Hanju couldn't be bothered. He couldn't come out of seclusion anyway. Back then, when Long Hao wanted to leave Hidden Sect Island, he was not forced. He wanted to go out himself. Hanju would help if he could. If he would put himself in danger, he wouldn't risk everything after putting down the heavenly Tao token. Hanju quickly entered his cultivation state. 7 years later, Hanju suddenly felt a powerful curse attack. He couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. What happened? Who's messing with me again? Hanju activated the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus and used his negative karma to resist the curse. Visit Light Novel World. Com for a better _ user experience. The curse and negative karma were both inclined towards karma. They were both invisible and colorless powers. The curse and negative karma were both inclined towards karma. They were both invisible and colorless powers. With the help of the 36th grade reincarnation world destruction Black Lotus, Hanju was no longer ravaged by the curse. He pinched his fingers to deduce, but he couldn't deduce the source of this curse. Looks like they're also afraid of being discovered. They're all imitating me. Hanju thought disdainfully to himself. You can curse anyone but me. I want to know who cursed me. 100 million years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? Continue. He had consumed a lot of his lifespan recently, but it was still far from hitting a round number. Hanju was not afraid of spending it. Immediately after, Hanju felt dizzy and realized that he had jumped into another scene. He opened his eyes and discovered that he had arrived in an underground cave. A figure was cursing someone with a book in front of him. It was Shuemingi. Hanju was very familiar with this guy. After all, this fellow had led many ancient races to create the Darkness sect. Bastard! You even dare to curse your ancestor. If you don't die, who will? Hanju was furious. At this moment, he suddenly heard Shuemingi muttering, Dark Forbidden Lord, do you feel it? I hope you like this. What did he mean? Hanju was surprised. The reason why Shuemingi cursed him was to attract his attention? Wait, how did Shuemingi know that he was the Dark Forbidden Lord? The demon emperor Zhu Tu, the heavenly Tao Buddha, and the other mighty figures did not know. How could he? The scene shattered and Han Ju returned to the Khanate cave abode. He continued to ask, "Does Xuemingi know that I'm the Dark Forbidden Lord?" No, this time, the system did not deduct his lifespan. The most up-to-date novels are published _here Light Novel World. Han Ju couldn't help but ponder. Why? Could it be that it involved his current karma, and would not deduct his lifespan? That didn't seem right. Could it be the after-sales service? Han Ju couldn't figure it out, and couldn't be bothered to think about it anymore. He started to think about Xuemingi. Before long the curse vanished. It was obvious that Xuemingi was not targeting him. But why was he cursed? Han Ju couldn't help but think of the forces related to him. Could it be that Xuemingi was cursing the heavenly court, or the nether race? Han Ju continued to ask in his heart, why did Xuemingi curse me? 50 million years of lifespan will be deducted. Do you want to continue? Continue. He is cursing the heavenly court. Indeed. Han Ju immediately took out the Book of Misfortune, and started cursing Xuemingi. Although Xuemingi was very likely his fan, he threatened the heavenly court. Han Ju had to take action. Han Ju prepared to spend 1 billion years to warn Xuemingi. Several days later, in the catacombs, boom, the terrifying aura shook the cave. Xuemingi was meditating and circulating his energy with an extremely pale face. He was being cursed. It's definitely the Dark Forbidden Lord. Xuemingi shivered. This was the first time he had felt such a powerful curse. Only such a curse could drive the Demon Emperor and the Heavenly Tao Buddha mad. Therefore, it could only be the Dark Forbidden Lord. You can find the rest of this content on the Light Novel World. Platform. Not only was Xuemingi not afraid, but he was also very excited. The Dark Forbidden Lord finally responded. With the Dark Forbidden Lord's strength, he could definitely curse him to death easily. However, he did not, which meant that he was transmitting information. The Dark Forbidden Lord was hiding in the Heavenly Court? It was possible. No wonder nothing happened to the Heavenly Court among the 4 overlords. The Demon Court was about to collapse. The Buddhist sect had lost a Buddha, and the Divine Palace had changed owners. Only the Heavenly Court had obtained the help of the Tao sect. No matter how he looked at it, the Heavenly Court was protected by the Dark Forbidden Lord. As Xuemingi was thinking, an even stronger curse surged over. Oh no! He couldn't withstand it. Xuemingi spat out a mouthful of blood, and formed hand seals with both hands to stabilize the dermic powers in his body. Fortunately, the curse did not continue to strengthen. It dissipated after 5 minutes. Although Xuemingi had suffered internal injuries, it was not serious. He didn't hate the Dark Forbidden Lord. Instead, he was happy. The Dark Forbidden Lord did not kill him, because he wanted to accept him. Xuemingi put himself in his shoes. If he was the Dark Forbidden Lord, he wouldn't hold back if he wanted to kill someone. With these thoughts in mind, he felt even more respect for the Dark Forbidden Lord. From now on, the Heavenly Court cannot be targeted. I have to ally with them to show my good intentions. Xuemingi wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and revealed a sinister smile. He felt that he was too smart. This way, he could confirm where the Dark Forbidden Lord was. Zhu Tu, you pretended to be the Dark Forbidden Lord. Just wait for your death. I can't defeat you, but the Dark Forbidden Lord will definitely not let you go. Xuemingi began to look forward to the outcome. After teaching Xuemingi a lesson, Han Ju continued cultivating. Time passed. 10 years later, Han Ju's cultivation level increased again. He stopped cultivating and took out the Heavenly Tao token to contact the Heavenly Emperor. Soon, the Heavenly Emperor connected to his divine sense. The latest episodes are on the Light Novel World. Website. Han Ju asked, Your Majesty, have you found Howard? The Heavenly Emperor said with a solemn tone, I found him, but I can't bring him back. Next, if he looks for you, you can pretend that you had never accepted him as your disciple. What do you mean? Did he betray us? Or was he possessed? I can't say. He wasn't possessed, but he's in danger now. Believe me. Between Long Hao and the Heavenly Emperor, Hanju definitely trusted the Heavenly Emperor more. The Heavenly Emperor was someone who treated him well, and Long Hao was definitely someone who Hanju treated well. Hanju said, I understand. How's the Heavenly Court recently? The Heavenly Emperor said, not bad. We're constantly devouring the territory of the Demon Court, and have also obtained the allegiance of many forces, including the most prominent Darkness sect. They took the initiative to express their goodwill, and formed an alliance with the Heavenly Court. It's probably the Dark Forbidden Lord's intention. Hanju thought to himself. Xue Mingyi is quite perceptive. In that case he did not have to die. Hanju said seriously, Your Majesty, the Dark Forbidden Lord is mysterious and unfathomable. You have to be careful not to be used. Don't worry, I know what to do. As long as they don't go against the Heavenly Court, everything can be discussed. The two of them continued to chat for a while, before severing their divine sense connection. Heavenly Court. In the Imperial Garden, the Heavenly Emperor put down the Heavenly Dao token and muttered, Is he really unrelated to the Dark Forbidden Lord? Xue Mingyi said that it was the Dark Forbidden Lord's intention to cooperate with the Heavenly Court. If that was true, the Dark Forbidden Lord should be from the Heavenly Court. He couldn't help but suspect Hanju again. However, Hanju told him to be careful of the Dark Forbidden Lord. It didn't make sense. What am I thinking? His talent is already strong enough. Why would I still expect him to rely on his own methods to help the Heavenly Court? The Heavenly Emperor shook his head and laughed, feeling that he had too many fantasies about Hanju. He frowned. Since the Dark Forbidden Lord had nothing to do with Hanju, it was very likely that he would harm the Heavenly Court. Why did the Darkness sect take this step? In the immortal world now, the Heavenly Court was already the strongest force. Under such circumstances, the Darkness sect helping the Heavenly Court would only help them successfully win the calamity. New chapters are published on Light Novel World. If the Heavenly Court won, what could the Dark Forbidden Lord obtain? A conspiracy. The more the Heavenly Emperor thought about it, the more uneasy he became. After all, the calamity had yet to reach its peak. Perhaps the Heavenly Court's calamity had yet to truly arrive. After putting down the Heavenly Dao token, Hanju was in a good mood. After putting down the Heavenly Dao token, Hanju was in a good mood. With the Darkness sect's help, the Heavenly Court should be better off. The Heavenly Emperor treated him too well, causing Hanju to feel bad if he didn't return this favor. Now he was finally able to help the Heavenly Court. Dao's sovereign had strong talent, but he was only a prodigy in the end. He couldn't decide the outcome of the battle between the major factions. However, the Darkness sect was different. They had many ancient races under them. With such a huge force supporting the Heavenly Court, how could it not be strong? Hanju got up and walked out of the cave abode. I'm going to preach. Everyone sit tight. Hanju's voice resounded throughout the entire Dao field. Even the 10,000 Nether race members heard it. They couldn't help but look forward to it. They still remembered how Empress Hudu had preached the Dao to them. Jiangyi couldn't help but open his eyes and look at Hanju curiously. Ever since he experienced the simulation trial, Hanju's image in his heart had become tall and mysterious. He was also shocked by the mystical power of the simulation trial. How could Hanju be weak if he could simulate the cultivation of an ultimate expert? Thinking about it carefully, Jiangyi was shocked to find that he had never defeated Hanju. Although his attitude in the past was humble, he was clearly not afraid. Looking back, he felt that Hanju was just coaxing him in the past. Also, the Golden Crow Divine Emperor had definitely died in Hanju's hands. This was because he had fought the Golden Crow Divine Emperor in the simulation trial. He was as powerful as in reality. Hanju didn't know what Jiangyi was thinking. He sat down in front of the Fusang tree and started to talk. Try the Light Novel World. Platform _ for the most advanced _ reading experience. Everyone sat down, including Diamond Rage and the Black Hell Demon Lord. Already at the deity realm, Hanju was also helpful to them. As he began to talk about his understanding of cultivation, his voice was filled with magic. It immediately made everyone enter a state of comprehension. They recalled their cultivation and their spiritual perception exploded. All kinds of strange ideas appeared in their minds, enlightening them. This lecture lasted for 5 years. After that, Hanju spent another 2 years answering their questions. The Nether race members didn't receive such treatment, or Hanju would have died of exhaustion. After speaking, Hanju returned to his cave abode and called Dao Comprehension Sword. After the cave abode closed, Dao Comprehension Sword knelt in front of him with a curious expression. She didn't know why Hanju called her. Hanju asked, "Did your previous master look for you recently?" Dao Comprehension Sword asked in surprise. "If I stay here, how will she find me?" "Like in your dreams." "Dream? That's true. Recently, I've been dreaming about her. She's cultivating beside me, but she hasn't spoken to me." Hanju frowned after hearing that. Tai Sutian was indeed harboring evil intentions. Dao Comprehension Sword was already a Grand Unity True Immortal, and was not far from the Grand Unity Golden Immortal realm. How could she dream for no reason? Dao Comprehension Sword added, "Don't worry, Master. I only have you as my master now. Even if you want me to kill her, I will. Her kindness to me can only be considered a favor. She didn't even notice me. You are different. You made me transform, and let me embark on the path of cultivation. You even protected me." As she spoke, Dao Comprehension Sword's eyes turned red. She meant it. Her true form was heaven and earth grass, and she had experienced many lifetimes. Before she met Hanju, she was a grass that floated in all directions of the world. She had been stepped on countless times and suffered countless storms. However, after meeting Hanju, she had never suffered. Now, she was even more carefree, and had many friends to talk about the world with. Her life was very comfortable. Hanju smiled and said, "I naturally know how you feel about me, but sometimes there are many things that you can't control. I want to leave the 6 paths insignia on your soul. If your previous master wants to take the opportunity to control you, I will be able to sense it immediately. In addition, after this insignia is imprinted, I will also control your life and death." The reason why Hanju said this was because he was afraid that Tai Sutian would discover the 6 paths insignia and drive a wedge between him and Dao Comprehension Sword. In that case, he might as well find an opportunity to admit it and eliminate the possibility of danger. Alright, try the light novel world. Com platform_ for the most advanced_ reading experience. Dao Comprehension Sword agreed immediately, and then sat beside him. She was very obedient, and didn't even feel nervous. She had a cold and beautiful face, but her eyes were full of smiles. She wasn't guarded against him at all. Hanju's heart softened, but his hands were still very honest. He still had to do it. In the face of absolute power, feelings were very fragile. It wasn't that Hanju didn't trust Dao Comprehension Sword, but that he did not trust Tai Sutian. He had to strengthen the 6 paths insignia to prevent future trouble. Several days later, Dao Comprehension Sword walked out of the cave abode and came to Li Yao's side. Li Yao asked curiously, "Why did Sect Master look for you?" Hanju rarely took the initiative to call Dao Comprehension Sword. Dao Comprehension Sword smiled proudly. "It's hard to say. Don't ask." As she spoke, she even threw a smug look at Tu Linger. Tu Linger curled her lips, her eyes filled with jealousy. Unlike the others, she didn't want to acknowledge Hanju as her master at first. She wanted another identity, but she didn't get her wish. Master is becoming more and more unfathomable. I don't even have a chance to interact with him. What should I do? Tu Linger fell into deep worry. If a handsome man like Hanju went out, he would definitely attract the favor of many peerless and ambitious women. At that time, how could she compete? 30 years later, while cultivating, Hanju took out the Book of Misfortune and started cursing the enemy while checking his emails. It had been more than 200 years since he broke through to the deity realm. He had yet to break through to the 2 mystic divine origin, but he was not far away. In fact, he could rely on the heavenly Tao merit to break through, but he did not want to be controlled by the heavenly Tao. Try the light novel world. Com platform_ for the most advanced_ reading experience. In short, Hanju's mentality was not bad. He was neither anxious nor impatient. Your good friend Ji Xianxian was cursed by a mysterious curse. Your grand disciple Feng Liang has comprehended the heavenly Tao, and his mystical power has improved. Your good friend Li Daokong was cursed by a mysterious curse. Because he has a supreme treasure, he is not affected. Your good friend Huang Zuantian was cursed by a mysterious curse. Your good friend Divine General has obtained a mysterious pill. His cultivation has increased greatly. Your good friend Zhou Fan was attacked by demons. X12229. Your good friend Imo Fuzhou has joined the darkness sect, and his providence has transformed. Your Dao companion Xing Hongxian has obtained the human emperor's inheritance. Her cultivation has increased greatly. Your disciple Long Hao forcefully stepped into the emperor realm. His soul was punished by the heavenly Tao. Fortunately, with the help of a mysterious mighty figure, his consciousness floated into the river of destiny and observed fate. So many mysterious curses. Hanju cursed silently. Currently, 3 people were pretending to be him. Zhu Tu, Shui Mingyi, and Jing Tiangong. Who knew if there was a 4th? Hanju felt that there was, or even more. At this rate, the entire immortal world would be cursed. Too chaotic. Hanju noticed that Imo Fuzhou had also joined the darkness sect. Why didn't Zhou Fan join? Had the 2 brothers broken up again? As for Xing Hongxian, she actually obtained the human emperor's inheritance. As expected of my wife, her providence is indeed different. The one Hanju cared about the most was Long Hao. Try the light novel world. Com platform _ for the most advanced _ reading experience. This fellow had actually become an immortal emperor, and was even prying into fate? What was he and Hao Tian doing? You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.